Are you ready? I don't think you are. I think you are. Are you ready for another fine episode of Book Shade? And of course, I am Amira Blaze. So guys, we have a very interesting episode today because I have a very interesting announcement about a readathon that I had no clue that this was going on until it actually started today. I actually man, I swear guys, it's like my hair is coming apart. I am having a week, but but I digress, guys. Getting back into it here. So there's a readathon going on. I had no clue, so we're going to be talking about that. Also, I'm going to be doing what I am reading for this particular readathon, as well as wrapping up. So doing the wrap-ups, as they call them, of stuff that I've already read. And I'm also going to show you guys in today's episode 2 about what I am actually going to be reading for this readathon. So I'm not gonna waste any time because we got a lot of shit to talk about, y'all. So let's get to it here. Okay, so first off, sure, I bring it up here. All right, so the readathon that I am talking about is happening as of today and is going to go through Sunday actually. And this is the historical romance readathon, okay? But this is the weekend edition. So this is not gonna be one of those readathons like the Readathon or the series Crackdown that is going on for a whole month. This is only for this weekend only, okay? So this is some of the this is some of the categories that you can do. So there's Lisa Kleypas, who I swear guys, in the lovely romance book community on BookTube, Lisa Kleypas, I'm so sorry guys, I have something in my eye. It's like absolutely terrible. This is what I get for trying to be like high fashion. Give me a second here guys, I'm so sorry. I will be right back. Just gotta get this thing out of my eye. So sorry. All right, sorry about that guys. It has just been, I swear, it has been such a crazy like week for me. It's like my hair is coming apart. I got something in my eye, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But let's get back to it here. Sorry about that. All right, here I am. So let's restart here. Oh my gosh, the mess of this damn show. All right, so like what I was saying, so this weekend only, historical romance readathon weekend edition. These are the categories here. You don't have to do all of them, but the whole point of a readathon is you try to see if you can achieve getting as many of these categories as possible. I didn't see anything going on with Bookstagram, so this just seems to be something that was just kind of focusing more on the reading component. So for this readathon, here are the categories. You have a Lisa Kleypas novel. And guys, let me tell you, Lisa Kleypas is apparently super popular here in the romance book community here on BookTube. I just keep hearing about her nonstop. So I was just like, I gotta see why she is so popular. So I did have the chance to read one of her books, and I can see why a lot of people are into the Lisa Kleypas. Okay, next category is an author of color. So I definitely want to say to the entire BookTube community, and especially I'm seeing a lot of non-African American people really taking this very seriously in regards to including authors of color, because in my personal opinion, for a very, very long time, authors of color are not always taken seriously unless they're writing something that is like historic, you know, or it's something that's like really, really, really like serious or something like that. So I really appreciate to those of you who are non African and African American booktubers, I really want to say thank you for helping to be part of that change, so that the narrative can be changed, so that more authors of color, especially more multicultural LGBTQIA plus booktubers can start to be invited to events such as going to really big book conventions and things like that. So I definitely want to say thank you for helping to change that narrative. And hey, we have someone new. Yes. Okay, I had to the hair, honey, this hair is a hot damn mess. But we have Sophie. Hey Sophie, welcome. Oh my gosh, guys, I am not used to wearing like straight hair, so I have these little pieces and I have lipstick on, so it's like sticking. So I'm so sorry if I'm going like and looking a hot damn mess. But we have Sophie. Hey Sophie, welcome to the program. And Sophie says, love your hair. Well, thank you. This is a heat resistant wig, and it was not like this before. It was straight, but I actually, guys, I have been living for the Revlon hair waver. It's a waver that allows you to have like what they call like the beach wave style. So I just decided to to try something different. So thank you, Sophie, for that compliment. Much appreciated. All right, so getting back into it, guys, the historical romance readathon. But yeah, I really appreciate that people are really including authors of color, both mainstream and independent. So that really warms my heart. So thank you for that, because that's helping to change the narrative, and it's helping people to become more aware of the diversity, not only within the authors that we enjoy, but the diversity that is within the BookTube community. And I really appreciate that. So I can only speak for myself. Thank you. But moving on from that, oh my gosh, guys, I almost choked. Sorry. I just had something to a mess, but I digress. So next category is takes place at sea. So the book story is taking place at the sea, okay? Next we have has a step back. So for those of you who are not familiar with what a step back is, they're still used from time to time, but it's mainly used in the older historical romance books or romance books coming out of like the 70s, the 80s, like even the 90s. And what a step back is literally a picture that is underneath the cover of the book. So when you open up the book, you have the cover, peel that, and then that's the step back. Step backs are actually really popular, and a lot of people actually collect romance books just for the fact that it has a step back. So if you want to see some interesting step backs, check out Peace Love Books, for example. She is obsessed with them step backs. Good God. No. I'm just being extra, but no, she really loves the step backs. I'd be watching her videos and she'd be like, oh my gosh, do you see how pretty this, look at this step back, oh my gosh. Okay, that's my horrible Peace Love Books impression. We know she don't sound like that, but yeah, she really loves the step backs. And then next category, of course, we have published before 2000. That'll be easy for me, honestly, because I'm old. So for me, you know, I tend to read older book series. I can't keep up with you know, current generation of booktubers. I swear, good God, it's like keeping up with what all the current releases in romance. I can't keep up. And then when I think, I'm like, okay, I'm cool, I get it, I'm cool. I'm not there yet, honey, so it's a problem, but I'm trying. You know, the way that I kind of like substitute me reading all these older books is, and there's nothing wrong with reading older books, you know. I think it's important to read these older series so that like they don't get forgotten. Cough, YA. But my messy ass, but you already know. So moving on from that, next category is a book you already own. That's not a problem. Part of a series, that might be a problem for me because I've been reading a lot of like standalone books, so that's just been my thing. We has purple on the cover. That's going to be tough too because most of my books are like as gothic as my heart. Black. Terrible. But then the final category is new to you author. So this is an author that is new to you. So far I've gotten the Lisa Kleypas. I haven't gotten the Setback or the Author of Color. I don't have Takes Place at Sea because, you know, black people in water. It's just not popping. No, I'm joking, guys. I couldn't swim with this hair, bitch. No way. Then a book you already own. Okay, I got that. Part of a series. I don't have that. Purple on the cover. I got purple eyeshadow. I know that doesn't count. And then new to you author, Lisa Kleypas, man. So I got like 2 or 3 of them. So we're doing good. So this weekend readathon, guys, is being hosted by the following: Peace Love Books, who I love. I'm like obsessed with her. You can tell her I said that. Also, it is being hosted by Remarked by Lisa. Let me tell you, Lisa is that bitch. I fucking love her. She has such a quirky sense of humor. And she covers like all different types of books, guys. So she just did a video recently on queer books. She does books on like historical romance. Actually, my favorite video of hers is the one where she did an attempt to read paranormal romance. And I don't know why so many romance booktubers be canceling either paranormal romance sometimes, horror books, because I always hear that. Okay, this is my impression of some booktubers that say this. Like, I don't read horror. It is not my thing. No. And that's fine, but I'm like, damn. Because, like, for me, I love horror. I love vampires. You guys recently got me into the shapeshifters, you know. Like, I can't get into the alpha romance. That's just not my thing. Like, I like a nice guy. I'm not really attracted to, like, the asshole cocky guy. That's just not me. That is not my cup of tea when it comes to my romance books, you know. But man, her videos, guys, are great. So check her out. She's on YouTube. Remarkably Lisa. There we go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's really fierce, and she does book hauls. Like, she is everything that I wish I could be as a booktuber. I am the most unconventional booktuber, guys. I don't do really edited videos. I'm more of like a booktube like live streamer. That's what I describe myself as now. I just like doing my stuff live. That's just me. But yeah, she is a fierce ass bitch. So is Peace Love Books. Like, I live, guys, through her bookstagram. I swear to you guys, and this is just me, it's like every couple of days she's got some new books. I remember she got like a couple days ago, because you know I'm obsessed with her. I'm a mess. But I was checking out her bookstagram, and she had a whole bunch of Beverly Jenkins books, and I was like, ooh, I wish I could buy books like that. But for me, like, I have one more, guys, mystery book box coming, and then I gotta be fucking done, because I'm not trying to have books fall on my head and shit. That's just not me. But yeah, Remarkably Lisa, yes, I love her. So she's hosting it with Peace Love Books. And I cannot forget my other Asian sister too, okay? Because I always say Asian people are my people too, okay? But I'm a mess. But yeah, Lacey, book lovers, I'm like obsessed with all three of these ladies. So I'm gonna say it, okay? I'm bringing the camera close. I'm obsessed with y'all bitches. All right, there we go. No, they're just fabulous, really nice people, guys. Like, super, super nice. And they're full of knowledge that I lack in. Well, I'm still new to this shit, but you know, I digress. But yeah, I love her. Lacey, guys, she is the connoisseur of historical romances. She talks about fantasy, anything really with romance, new adult. She recently started going into that direction of fantasy, and she does really good, nice, like concise reviews. And she is super, super sweet. Unlike me, you know, I look like a creature, okay? But she's great. And I love her. One of my favorite videos of hers is when she was talking about dark romances. Yeah, I believe she did one on dark romance. And mafia romances, I believe she's done one on. I might be wrong, but yeah, her videos are the shit. So this weekend they're supposed to be doing a live stream as well, so you know a bitch going to be checking that out, okay? Another announcement too, guys, that I'm going to be doing too is I am going to be doing booktuber reactions, where if I see something interesting that a booktuber is talking about, I just want to react and give my commentary on it, because I'm a commentator. That's what I like doing, so we gonna do the damn thing here, okay? But yeah, they're hosting it, guys. It's going on this entire weekend till Sunday. And if you're into historical romance, guys, I won't lie, I was a shady bitch, and I was like, I canceled historical romances. I'm like, it's drier than menopause. It is not my thing. But when I tell you, I started reading some Lisa Kleypas, I am hooked, y'all. I've been reading one historical romance audio book after the next. And guys, the narrators, the voices that they do is on point. It is sassy, it is sexy. It's giving me some like menopause symptoms when I'm not there yet. It's everything, guys, like everything. So definitely, if you really want to get yourself kind of introduced into historical romance, these are the three ladies, in my personal opinion, y'all should be checking out. There's a whole bunch of us that love like historical like books and stuff, but these three ladies, like, they are very, very into the historical romances, and I see them spreading out. It seems right now there is a fantasy uprising on BookTube, and for good reason. Fantasy is a very interesting genre, but my concern though is I hope it doesn't get so oversaturated that people like start canceling fantasy. Because I don't know, remember that book series called Twilight? Hashtag messy queen. But I digress. Because remember, it was like everybody was reading Twilight, then people started canceling vampire romance because of Twilight. So I just hope and pray, Jesus take the wheel, that that fantasy doesn't get canceled, because I enjoy some fantasy. I mean, I mainly read a lot more horror and the paranormal, like romance and the vampire romance and stuff like that. But I'm starting to branch out a little bit. I'm starting to branch out. But yeah, so that's going to be going on this weekend, guys. I'm going to be participating in that. And I will let you know, guys, what goes down with all of that good shit. Okay, so if you want to participate, it started today, and I finished like what, 2 books already. Yes, squad. Okay, so moving on from that. Okay, so guys, I want to give what I like to call my alternative booktuber recommendation. And guys, let me tell you, this lady is the business. She is savage. She's gorgeous. The makeup is like everything. She is savage, okay? And I highly recommend her. She just, you know, she's making her booktuber comeback, you know, and her name is Coffee and Books with Allie. I love her, guys. She has such a quirky personality, and her voice is soothing like toothpaste, and she is so nice. She answered all of my questions, guys. Like, I love that, you know. And this is why I tend to recommend, and this is no shade to the bigger booktubers, sometimes it's hard for them to like answer questions or comment back, because you know they got a lot of people commenting. So that's the other reason why I like recommending like either newer booktubers or mid-size or smaller booktubers, because you have a better chance of them like responding back to you. Or if they're just like an overall nice ass person, like this lady right here, Allie really rocks, guys. I love her, like her vibe and everything. And she has such an eclectic like book collection. And you know, I saw she had the Witcher books and stuff, and I just fell in love. I was just like, I must talk about this lady on my small ass program. But she is everything, guys. So if you're looking for another, you know, alternative booktuber like myself, definitely check out Coffee and Books with Allie. You will not be disappointed. Her stuff is much better quality than my broke ass shit. So go check her out, y'all. Go check her out. She's great. I'm gonna be recommending a lot of smaller and mid-sized booktubers, guys. And it's not because I'm just, you know, I'm not trying to be like, you know, like, oh yeah, go check them out, you know, not like that. But I actually watch these people's videos and I love them, and I feel they deserve that type of recognition. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, get that hashtag booktuber love. All right, so moving on from that. All right, so let me get into the books that I have already read. So first off here, we have this book. Let me put my book stand down so I can like actually, you know, see what I'm doing. So back into it here. These are books, guys, that I've already read. So this one is by Lisa Kleypas, and it is called Suddenly You. Okay, so what this story is, the gist of it, guys, is you have 2 primary protagonists. So you have Amanda and you have Jack Devlin, the very debonair, okay, the gentleman, okay, a little bit of a freak, yeah. No, okay, I'm being extra. But Jack Devlin, okay, and this book is more surrounded in the mid 1830s in London, okay? And what happens is Amanda is the daughter, here's the thing that's interesting, guys, about Amanda is she's the daughter of a her father is very well respected, but Unfortunately, her dad was ratchet and did not treat her well because, you know, she decided to have her cake and eat it too. So yeah, the guys can be out here doing their thing, but the ladies be out here slaying too, okay? Corset and petticoat and all, okay? So she decided to be a little bit scandalous with this guy that she had like first love vibes with, and her dad heard about that, and he was not having it. He's like, you's got to go, okay? We're not, you know, we're not playing with that. So, oh no, I'm so sorry guys, mixed it up here. It's been a long day. Rewind. Okay, so suddenly you guys, I've been reading so many books, it's like overlapping, you know what I mean? All right, so let's restart here. So Amanda and Jack, okay? So Amanda Briers, she's almost 30 guys, and she is a novelist, okay? And she be writing some bomb ass books, okay? Her books are so well respected. They have kind of a cult following, but they're not like massive like Charles Dickens numbers, okay? Because this book, like I said before, it's taking place in the mid 18th century, 1830s, and if you know anything about 18th century literature, Charles Dickens, definitely the man with the game plan and classic author during that like time, okay? So Jack Devlin, he had, you know, he started from the bottom, worked his way up, and became a proper gentleman in this society. He also works in the literary world, and he has his own like publishing kind of company. So, but on the side though, okay, he is let's just say he is a man of the evening, okay? So Amanda is 30, and she's like, you know what, my eggs are starting to dry up, the world is coming to an end. And it's really funny though guys, because that tends to happen to some women in their 30s, like they're having like a midlife crisis when it's not even a midlife crisis. So that's what Amanda is going through. So then when she meets Jack, because he is a man of the evening, okay, and they're about to get it on, and he just, for some reason, he's like, this lady is doing something to me, and I want to be classy, and she felt the same way. So they had a little, you know, a little taste, and then they had to kind of refrain. So the rest of this story, guys, revolves around Amanda and Jack and their formation of their romance coming together. And guys, let me tell you, it is like a London, like 18th century talk show realness. There is some good ratchetness in here, but as like I like to call this my prudish warning, there is mature content in this book, so make sure you do your damn research before reading this book. Okay, don't come for me and say, oh my gosh, you know, why did you recommend this book and you just didn't let me know. Do your research, mature content. Boom. Okay. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I really liked it, guys. It was sassy, it was sexy. I love Amanda is not the typical like, oh, damsel in distress with my parasol. You know, she wasn't like that. She was a strong woman. She knows what she wants, but it was also sexy to kind of see Jack and Amanda and the play banter they had with each other, and she was really into Jack, okay? There was some sexy moments in this book, guys, that I had to put the book down, and you see me sweating? It is that, it's the Jack effect, okay? He is very sexy, smart, well put together, and he respects Amanda for being who she is. He doesn't try to change her personality. He doesn't try to compromise, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you though. There are lots of twists and turns in this book, guys, where you will be, you know, you will need some smelling salts, because I almost fainted. There's so many twists and turns, but let's just say that Jack, he has a very difficult past, and it affects him greatly. It's really sad, but I highly recommend this book, guys. I give it my rating of masterpiece, okay? Because it's well written. I see why y'all like Lisa Kleypas. She is that bitch, okay? I love her. Love her, love her, love her. I'm gonna read all of her fucking books, all right? Like, that's what I'm going to do. All right, next we have Tessa Dare. I don't always hear about Tessa Dare, or maybe I'm just not. Maybe, guys, look, I'm new to this booktube shit, so, you know, I don't know all the main, you know, tea drinking authors, okay? But this is Tessa Dare's The Duchess Deal. This book was everything, guys. It was everything. This was my first, like, introduction to historical romance, and it is well written, okay? I put her up there with Lisa Kleypas. Like, they just know how to write the female perspective, but the men are still, they still have a dimension to them, you know? And sometimes, I won't lie, like with Lisa Kleypas, I felt like her male protagonists had a little more leeway. They were not always so alpha. With Tessa Dare, sometimes, especially in this book, The Duchess Deal, this is part of a series actually, like the guy in this book, he is super brooding alpha till it hurts. But okay, so here is the premise, guys, of this. All right, so this was the one I was talking about before that I mixed up with the Lisa Kleypas, but this is just of this book that I read, okay? So you have two protagonists here, okay? So you have the Duke of Ashbury, and then you have Emma Gladstone. So Emma Gladstone, she comes from a very well-respected vicar's daughter, but she just, you know, and I love Tessa Dare because her female protagonists also are very unconventional in a way. So, you know, she's a vicar's daughter, so, you know, she's decent. You know, does he really have to try? Not really. But she decides to be a seamstress, and she becomes a seamstress for some of the high fashion ladies within society. This takes place in London, okay? So one day she comes, all right, and into his library. She's wearing this fine and here's the thing, guys, I take notes too, so if you see me looking like that, that's just want to make sure I'm, you know, presenting everything correctly here. So she comes to his library. She's got, you know, wearing the wedding gown, you know, and everything, and he's supposed to be getting married to someone else, but he cancels that bitch. She's like, you got to go, you know. It just wasn't working. And you know, there's a lot of plot twists. You'll find out later what actually happened between him and fiance number one, okay? It was a mess, but I digress. So he sees her in this gown, and he needs a baby because, you know, he wants to pass on, you know, his assets as a duke to his potential son. Now, this book, if you are more of like a non-traditionalist when it comes to historical fiction, you may not like this book because this book is like women do this and men do that. That's how this book is. So there is a little misogyny in there. So if you are not into that misogyny, it does not turn you on like that, this is not going to be for you. If you are not into a brutish alpha male, this will not make you moist. I'm just saying, okay? I'm being a mess. I know I'm being a mess here. Man, next time, guys, I gotta make sure I put my hair down correct here, because my hair is getting all in my face. It is a mess. But let's continue here, okay? So they meet, and he decides right on the spot, guys, he's like, you know what? She is a fine female, and she dresses very well, so I'm gonna marry her. And she's like, what? So he makes these terms, and these are his conditions, okay? They get married, and they're only going to be husband and wife in the evening time, okay? When they make love, there will be no lights on, no kissing. And I'm just like, what? Like, that's a hot mess, okay? Then on top of that, the thing about him, guys, is since he's the Duke of Ashbury, before he, you know, had that title, he actually fought in the war, okay? And he was fighting, and then unfortunately a freak accident happens, and he gets all scarred up. He looks like not too good in his view, okay? Like half of his body is really tore up from the floor up, okay? It's a mess, all right? But he's still sexy to me though. I like me some scars on a man, okay? All right, not emotional. Some guys have them sexy physical scars like that. It be looking sexy, yes, okay, I be feeling that. But enough of my ratchetness. But after that, he's just like that's the reason why he wanted the lights off, was because he didn't want her to see his true form. But little did he know, she's like, I don't care, like, I'll put some cocoa butter on that, honey, we be good, I'm a mess. I'm such a mess, rubbing cocoa butter on some scars, okay? But I digress here, guys. I'm so sorry I keep messing with my hair, but it's just because I just don't want it to slip out and then you guys be, judging a bitch. All right, but moving on from that. So he has all these rules, his terms and everything. And then here's the fucked up part, guys, is that once they continue consummating and she gets pregnant with his heir, they can no longer sleep with each other, and that she would be able to move to a separate residence that he has, and raise the son and everything without him. Because to the Duke, okay, he feels that because of his battle scars and stuff, and some of his disabilities that he has, he feels that he would not be worthy to be a good father. So the whole journey of this book is them, trying to, him trying to get his emotional state back in place, and for him to have a good relationship with Emma. And there's so many twists and turns, guys, in this book too, but it is so good. Like, I just love the banter that Amanda and the Duke have with each other. It's very sexy, is very becoming. And as much of a dick as the Duke is, though, I would be all up on him, because like, it's just the things he says to Emma, or to Emma, sorry. The things he says to Emma is so sexy. I just get hot and bothered thinking about it. But I digress, guys. This book I highly recommend. It's well written. They just complement each other, as the story goes on. But this is the first book in the series. This is called Girl Meets Duke series. So I am excited to read the other books in this series, and I'm sure they'll be, just as good as this one right here, okay? All right, so next, guys, I have something new here, because you know me, I always try to bring something different, okay, to the program. And that is, guys, from ever so often, I like to read webtoons. But specifically, no, I'm being messy. I like to read adult webtoons, okay? So these are also known as the hot and steamy mature, okay? Mature webtoons. And I had the pleasure of getting caught up with this new one. It's called Fitness. Guys, let me tell you, the writing is fantastic. It is sassy, it is sexy, it's well put together. So the whole premise of this webtoon, guys, is it takes place in a hence the name. It takes place in a workout gym, and you have these two main these are the one with the short hair, she's the main protagonist, and the one with the longer hair is the second protagonist, boss, okay? And the whole premise of Fitness is you have the main protagonist lady right here, and she and the guy, they've been like, friends growing up for a very long time. They were actually neighbors, and they grew up in like rural environments, so that's why they get along really well. So then what starts happening is she continues to tease her guy friend, being like, dude, like, you know, he looks like a Slim Jim, you know. And he has an adversary too, who's like super buff, and he thinks he's like the shit and all that. So he kind of plays off that alpha male kind of stereotype. So the whole premise, guys, of this mature webtoon is them and their relationship kind of building and getting closer and closer. So as another prudish warning, this is a adult webtoon, okay? So it does have mature content. It's very sexy, so viewer discretion is definitely advised, okay? But it's really good. It has the nice blend of sexuality and a good storyline. I won't lie, fitness can feel cliche in some parts, but it's really good, guys, and it's very funny, and you will laugh, and it's a good time. Okay, so I will be talking about webtoons, like regular webtoons as well as adult webtoons. I like both, but this one I just finished today, and it was very yeah, it was very interesting. Oh, hey, we got Stay Solid. Hey, welcome, of course, to the program. And Stay says, what's the name again? It's called Fitness, like, you know, working out, like fitness, you know, like that. What's the song, Fergalicious? I be on my fitness, or some shit like that. But it's a really good adult webtoon. I enjoyed it. It was very sexy. The sex scenes were very hot, and it was a good time. I enjoyed it. Yeah, but I think it's important, guys, because like my show, the way I have it designed, it is for adults. So, you know, I cover regular romance, but I also and I also cover adult webtoons too, because I think it's important. I think it's important for adults to feel comfortable with sex, because I think, especially when it comes to literature, it's like, you know, especially with romance, so many times like people are just like ooh, 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 and it's like, come on, like sex is a part of being an adult. Like, it's okay. You know, it's something that we should be comfortable with, and you know, I want to be part of the more adult, mature side of booktube, and I'm not trying to be shady like that, but you know what I mean, because most of the time booktube is saturated with what's called YA, which is young adult kind of stuff, but for me, I want to do more of the adult type of literature, which is it is presented in booktube, but not adult webtoons. So, but this one it's fun. It's really fun, and I mean, it's great. The reason I'm laughing, guys, it's a good time. It's the love triangles in fitness. It's ridiculous. It's like her friend likes her boss, but then she thinks that he likes her boss, and then her boss is just like, oh my gosh, you look so good, and I'm like, oh no, I think she's into her. Okay, so there's a lot of twists and turns, but it has its classic tropes, you know, but it's still good. I highly recommend it if you are into adult webtoons. It's called Fitness. Just check the bitch out, okay? It's really fun. And Solid says 100%. Yeah, I just think it's important, you know. All right, so these are the books, guys, that I am going to be reading hopefully throughout this weekend for this lovely historical romance weekend readathon. Okay, with my parasail. I would not make it, guys, in Regency, like England at all. Like, people would look at me like, oh, she is definitely deplorable. Oh my, Louise, do you see her candor? Oh, you know, like, I would not fit on the cast of Downton Abbey or any of that. Like, you know, I probably would be the ratchet one. That's why I love watching like historical shows, because there's, especially like the romance drama kind of ones, because there's always like one, like it's somebody that is ratchet, you know, and it's great. But they say it in such polite tones, like, you know, it's like, why is there a loose corset on the floor? You know, it's, oh, that is not my loose corset. You know, like, you know, and they be sleeping with the husband and their boyfriend, then they be sleeping with their girlfriend. I mean, it is a smorgasbord of sexuality in some of those shows. And it'd be so interesting, for real. But these are the books, guys, I'm gonna be reading this weekend. So this first book is called Her Dark Curiosity. This seems to be a mature YA. That's what I'm thinking. You know, I'm trying to give YA a chance, guys, because I'm trying to kind of branch out of my comfort zone and seeing like what's cool, what's not, what works for me, what doesn't. But this is the premise of the book here, okay? So this has a interesting take on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it has some inspiration, because you know, the strange case of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde was written by Robert Louis Stevenson. So it kind of has some of the mysteries in there, but this is the synopsis. I got this from Goodreads. So it says, months have passed since Juliet Moreau returned to civilization after escaping her father's island and the secrets she left behind. Now back in London once more, she is rebuilding the life she once knew and trying to forget Dr. Moreau's horrific legacy, though someone or something hasn't forgotten her. So that's really interesting. So you have, you know, Juliet, and she's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, that's pretty much it. She's like, I cannot stand my dad with his crazy ass, you know, weird science experiments. Nobody got time. But yeah, it's supposed to be this like darker inspiration on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So if you're into that, you would like that. Oh, and that's very nice of you, Stay. Stay says you're very articulate. I think you could portray more than just the ratchet girl. You know, that's the thing, guys, is it's interesting though, because it's like when I wear my hair like this and I have this look like this, people automatically assume, just because of my sense of humor, they're like, oh, she must be ratchet. But then I appreciate that like when people actually hear me talk, or I share my interests and hobbies and stuff, that they're like, oh no, you're not a ratchet bitch at all. Yeah, you got some brain up there. And I'm like, thank you. And it's like, no, I just like having fun, guys. Life is too short. You know, if there's anything that we can take away from this unfortunate pandemic that we are all suffering through, okay? A mess. That life is really valuable. So every day I wake up, I'm just like, all right, thank you, God, for allowing me to have some oxygen in these lungs, and I can live another day and enjoy my life to the fullest and throw this crazy looking wig on my head. Amen. Okay, but you know, I appreciate that compliment. Thank you so much for that. That really means a lot, my friend. All right, so I'm gonna be reading about that. So that's probably the first book I'm going to read, because you guys know I love gothic literature. I go hard for Edgar Allan Poe, and yeah, I love watching Vincent Price movies. Vincent Price was the man, okay? He's crazy as hell, but he was the man. All right, so then next, of course, I have to go with the classic historical romance here, and we have Ed Stay is laughing. You know, I try to have fun with my show, you know, and I keep it real, right? But we have Tessa Dare, because I remember I told you I was gonna read another one, okay? I was feeling that Duke of Ashbury, so I had to have another taste, okay? And this is the book called Say Yes to the Marquis. All right, so Castles Ever After is the series. So this one, the premise on this one says, after 8 years of waiting for Pierce Brandon, the wandering Marquis of Granville, to set a wedding date, Cleo Whitmore, I think it's Cleo? Yeah, Cleo Whitmore had enough. She's inherited a castle, scraped together some pride. I thought I was expecting for like scrape some dollar bill, y'all. You know? It's like, I take my bag and leave. Good day, sir. You know? That's why I think about, guys, when I'm listening to these audiobooks, is I'm like thinking of the characters and how ratchet they could be in the time period. It's hilarious. It says here, she's inherited a castle, scraped together some pride, and made plans to break her engagement. So she's had enough. This guy is like treating her like shit. So she's like, bye, bitch. So that's what this book, to summarize, that is what that read is going to be about. So that's the second one I'm going to be reading this weekend. Oh, and Stay is asking if I have a YouTube as well. Yes, I do. Just look up Bookshade. That's why I have this graphic, because like people would ask me, they're like, how do you spell the name of your show? And I'm like, just like that. A mess. But yeah, this is gonna be the second book that I am going to be reading for this historical romance readathon weekend. Okay, next, if I have time, look at all this like white chocolate Scottish Highlander daddy. I'm loving it. But look at all that scruff. Okay. I must have composure. Okay. But once again, another Tessa Dare book, and this is called When a Scot Ties the Knot. I would tie many knots. But I'm a mess. Stay says, I love your energy. And Stay says, Edgar Allan would be hilarious if he was covering romances in 2020. Yeah, I could see it like the Addams Family. He would just be like... like can you imagine Edgar Allan Poe like owning like a resort? That would be a mess. It would be like, welcome, you know, and they'd be like, oh honey, you know, because you know there's always that like airheaded innocent couple in any movie. So like he opens the door, he's got all his black garb, you know, looking all constipated like he looks like, you know, in his the illustrations of him and shit. And they're just like, oh honey, this place is great, everything is drabbed and black, and oh wait, are those all wolves hollering? Just ignore that, ignore it you know. Like, they get to the room, it's just like you just hear ooh. He's just sitting there like, enjoy your stay, you know. Like, I would be like, no, we is going. Okay, we get in that car. It'd be like an episode of The Simpsons where it's just like, we'd be long gone. Okay, my wig would be snatched off and we would be gone. Like you guys, like, I don't understand how some people be doing those ghost adventure stuff. Okay, I wouldn't have time for that. I don't want them spirits following me back. I don't want those spirits following me back. I be sleeping, they're like, remember me? And I was like, I remember you, so can you please leave the premises, okay, before I gotta pray on you now, okay? For you to leave. I don't know how people do that. And it'd be so cool. Like, here's a little side tangent, guys. Like, I've been watching a lot of these, like, you know, this is the most haunted place in the world and all this mess. And I'm just like, seriously? Like, really? All right. And Stay agrees. He's like, nah. He's like, nah, us black folk ain't got time for that. No, we don't, man. Okay, if there's one stereotype that is true in horror movies, that is my people, like, unless we is real curious, we just don't have time. Okay, as soon as I see a cup moving on its own or the lights start to flicker, that is an indication that I have my Nikes on and I'm about to jump. Okay. Like I am like, or how do our people say it, like skirt? Like that's what I'm gonna be doing. Okay, because that's like how every horror movie starts out with, you know, you got like maybe a couple black folks and then, you know, you got like, you know, a couple white guys and they friends or something like that. I was watching a movie like that and his friend was like, hey man, let's all go and like hang out at this haunted house. Brother was like, sister was like, I don't think that's a good idea. But, you know, they convinced them, you know, they're like, oh, come on, man, it'll be fun. We get to see some spirits, you know, and it went down. Like, they luckily they got out, but trust and believe, they were like, next time I'm going to pick our field trip, okay? Get your life. Them spirits were chasing them down, guys, like a Olympic triathlon, okay? It was a mess. It was a mess. The whole time I'm like, I was joking with my mother and I just looked at her. I was like, see mom, this the reason why we always have our running shoes on, because one of our friends is going to tell us some dumb stuff and be like, hey, come to this haunted place with me. And my friends know this about me and we laugh about this all the time. Okay, my friend straight up called me right now, okay, and was like, yo, Amira, like, there's this haunted house, let's go check it out. I'd be like, skirt. I'll play the sound for them. I'd be like, hey, wait, I think I hear tires burning. Hold on one second. Skirt. Like, nobody has time. I don't care what race you are. If you smart, you know to stay out of a haunted house. Okay, there are some people who just they not scared like that, so they have the ability, in my personal opinion, to go into those spaces. But you will not see me, okay, like that music video with there's this music video by Rockwell and it's called Somebody's Watching Me. Okay, and in the end of the music video there's that weird creepy looking dude going like this. Okay, that's the reason why I don't go to haunted houses. So, because I want to be chilling, you know, minding my business. I'm seeing this. You know, I'll be out of there. Okay, my wig would be on the table. Okay, my pride would be in my chest, and I'd be gone. Okay, like, Stay is laughing, but no, that's the honest truth, guys. Like, I don't got time. Like, you know, I don't need no weird spirit to be following me back, being like, you know, I don't need that. I'll read it in a book and be like, ooh, okay, I'm not going there. No, absolutely not. Okay, that was a good story. I don't care how much money it is. I would not. Okay, you will not see me up. No, thank you. But getting back into it, that's my tangent of the day. Okay, but once again, Tessa Dare, it's called When a Scot Ties the Knot. Okay, and the gist of this one, see if I have it here. Okay, there we go. All right, so it says, on the cusp of her first London season, Miss Madelaine Grace Church. See, that's when you know you have money, is when you have a name like Grace Church. Okay, that means you've been blessed to have that kind of money, you know, by grace. No, I'm being messy. Was shyly pretty and talented with a drawing pencil, but hopelessly awkward with gentlemen. So she's socially awkward. Why couldn't you just say? No, I'm being messy. She was certain to be a dismal failure on the London marriage mart. So Maddie did what generations of shy, awkward young ladies have done. She invented a sweetheart. So pretty much she's saying that, okay, she's a socially awkward artist and she decides to, you know, just to save face, to have an imaginary boyfriend. But this imaginary boyfriend becomes a real Scottish daddy. Hashtag real Scottish daddy. Okay. Just saying. All right. So that one's about, and this one, I haven't read the first book in the series. This is part of a series that's called Castles Ever After. So I'll give it a shot. I like the Duchess stuff. I've never tried a Highlander romance. We shall see how that goes, but I like them Highlander pecs though. Could play music on those pecs. Good God. All right. All right, next book, hopefully I'll be able to read. Some of these books, guys, these historical romances, you're gonna be in for a long ride, because the last book that I think it was Suddenly You, it was almost like 9-10 hours. But what I do is I put on my earbuds, and then I'll be like, you know, cleaning my room, you know, thinking about life, you know, running, well, attempting to run, but you know, I look like I'm skipping when I run. It's kind of sad, but I'm getting there, guys. I lost a couple pounds. All right, keep me motivated, y'all. All right, so Lorraine Heath with The Earl Takes All. See, the thing I love about some of these historical romance books is the title says it all. It's like the knot of the Scot, you know, and the Earl takes all. Like that just sounds like she's like there and she's like, oh well, he's going to just take all of me, and yeah, it sounds like a good time. You know, but I like her dress though. But let me tell you guys, those dresses has tons of tulle, and they were very heavy and not the most comfortable thing. So props to those women for wearing them dresses, because that looks like a tough time to wear that. This is part of another book series that's called The Helens of Havisham, and this is the second book in the series. So here's the thing, guys, that I'm noticing. Because of the pandemic, which is a good thing, everybody's reading. So I like to use the resources at my library, but because everybody is reading, like the first book in the series or the middle book or the last book in the series is like, I can't get it, you know, so I have to like place a hold on it, and then it takes like weeks on end. So if you guys know of any other resources that I can get, like audiobooks that are like discount price or something like that, let me know. But here's the premise, guys, of Lorraine Heath's The Earl Takes All. It says, one summer night, Edward Alcott gives in to temptation and kisses Lady Julia Kenny in a dark garden. However, the passion she stirs within him is best left in the shadows as she weds his twin, the Earl of Greyling. But when tragic strikes, to honor the vow that he makes to his dying brother, Edward must pretend to be a Greyling until the Countess delivers her babe. So pretty much that sounds like any reality show on television. That's pretty much it. So pretty much his brother gives into the temptation, gets with Lady Julia, you know, pops that, whatever, does the business, and he ends up dying because of some crazy stuff, and his brother has to pretend to be a Greyling to save face for her having the baby. This is gonna be a hot mess, okay? But it's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good, okay? I'll be sipping my tea, reading the book receipts, okay? It's gonna be a good time. So yeah, this one it's gonna be pretty good. It seems like it's interesting. All right, guys, so before we get into the other half of the program today, I'm going to be doing my vampire romance reading vlog, because guess what, guys? I was able to obtain the audiobook, the right one, for Lover Awakened, which is book 3 of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. I'm going to react to it. I love music, guys. Like, I actually have a series that I'm going to be doing here that's called music albums that should be books. I did one way back for Q-Tip. I love that album. It's so good. It should be a book. It would be an interesting book. But I love music overall. But guys, one of my favorite genres is a genre I think that gets really overlooked, because most of the time, you know, we're talking about R&B, we're talking about hip-hop, we're talking about country, pop, EDM, you know, we're talking about dubstep and all these other genres, you know, that are very pop music and all that, very, very common. But one genre that, you know, is the foundation for all of these genres, you know, in a way, is classical music. So I found this this really, really cool excuse me, program that is called Prime Phonic. Okay, so this is, guys, a program that you can get on your phone for free. And what it does is it helps you to find your classical music taste. Okay, so if you are a classical music lover like myself, okay. All right, no, I am not that pretentious. But if you are into classic music and you want different variations and just really just a really nice program that streams classical music, this is one that I would suggest. You actually can get, guys, a 14-day trial for free. I'm actually trying it out now, and it's really, really fierce. I'll have to find out how much the pricing is to see if that's something I would be able to, like, you know, do and afford. But I will continue using it, guys, and I'll do a follow-up because I think music is really good for your reading experience, because sometimes, like for me, I can get burned out if I'm reading in silence. I need something to like stimulate my brain besides being stimulated by all these amazing like books that I'm reading. But yeah, it's a really cool program, guys. Check it out. It's called Prime Phonic, so it's PRIMEPHONIC. I just found it randomly today on Twitter, and yeah, it's really cool. So if you're into classical music, and the cool thing is, guys, when you sign up for it, and you sign into the program, what it does is it asks you like, oh, what type of classical music listener are you? And you kind of do this quick questionnaire, and it kind of modifies to your taste as a, you know, as a musical listener. It's really cool. I've never seen something like this for classical music. So if you're into it, whether you like 20th century classical music, which is the more modern form of classical, if you like a medieval, Baroque, you like Renaissance, you know, if you like chamber music, symphonic, one of my favorite subgenres of classical music is actually called neoclassical. And they also have what's called indie rock classical music. I just learned about that today, and this is not sponsored. This is just from my own research. But yeah, guys, it's called Prime Phonic. If you're into classical music, or if you like different, more modern variations of classical music, this is a great way that you can read without, and they have some stuff with vocals, but you can get a lot of the stuff you can listen to on this program is instrumental. So that way you just have, like, some people like myself, you just want to have some background music while you're reading. This is a way to go if you're into classical music, or, you know, indie rock classical music. They have all sorts of playlists, guys, and even a radio that you can filter to your taste, and it plays music the way that you want it. So yeah, definitely go check it out, my friends. It's called Prime Phonic, and I'll do a follow-up on it because I've been listening since today, and I enjoy it greatly. Okay, all right. So now we're getting to the main piece here, the next hour and a half left of the program today. We're going to be doing my vampire romance reading vlog, or reading sprint as they're called, and I'm going to get started, guys, reading and listening to the audiobook of book 3, Lover Awaken. So we gonna get started. I'm gonna react, do some commentary here, and we are going to have a good time. So there we go, reading sprint. I just got these headphones, guys. How cool are these? You know, coordinating, and you can use them regular and Bluetooth as well. I got these off of Amazon, and yeah, very comfortable, and they fit really nicely too. And you can adjust too, because I have a big ass head, so you already know. All right, I gotta get a better case for my Kindle here. All right, and let me get my book stand back up. Book stands are great, guys, because then you're not like hurting your neck bending all day, you know, like while you're reading. All right, guys, we got let's see here, 26 chapters of. All right, let me. See, I like to read and listen to the audiobook, so that way it just helps me to like retain stuff better. But now, since I've been reading a lot more, I'm getting better at doing my synapses and stuff. So, all right, guys, so we're not gonna waste any time. Let's get this reading sprint started. Every episode, I am going to be doing 10 reading sprints. So make sure I do this here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So every episode, guys, I'm gonna do 10 reading sprints, so that way I, you know, get through the book faster, so that way I can give you guys a wrap-up review on it, which is my favorite thing to do, because you see the way I love how they explain how I talk about books, you know, get your life. All right, so we're going to start the reading sprint right now. All right, let's start it right now. Here we go, guys. 20 minutes, and let's begin. So get this. I read all the glossary terms. Make sure, guys, to read the glossary term in the beginning of the book, because each book has new terms. So as you're reading the series, there are new terms. Okay, so let's get started here. Lover awakened. Woo, I'm so excited because this is a story of Zadis. Yes. And we already, guys, into an action scene here. This is crazy. So what I'm gonna do, guys, at the end of 20 minutes, I'll do a recap of what I've read so far. Whew, sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love me some Zadis. You know, inside that dark gothic heart is a nice gentleman. Well, a nice vampire gentleman somewhere. Somewhere somewhere. There we go. Aw. Jeez. Aw. I swear, guys, this is good. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with this book series, the first half of the books, to me, are about like the romantic pairings of each of the brothers within the Brotherhood, and then it kind of expands off of other characters and other parts of the universe that they're in. Book 3, Lover Awakened, is about the story of Bella, who is a vampire of higher aristocrat level, and Zadis, who is actually a slave that was unfortunately tortured. Okay, a hot mess. So this is their love story, and I'm excited because I like Zadis. See, at first I was Team Raft, but then, like, as I've been reading the books, like especially in the second book, Raph was so nasty to Rage, it really pissed me off. Like I was all up in my feelings, and I was just like, you know what, no. And then for some reason, in the first book, Dark Lover, we get the introduction of Zetas, and Raph's just like canceling him, like, just stay away from him, he's dangerous. But like, as I'm reading, you know, now it's just showing me that Zetas is a nice guy, because he's doing everything that he can to get Bella back, because unfortunately, guys, Bella was abducted by Mr. O, who is one of the higher well, he's not as high as Mr. X is in the Lessening Society, but I would consider him like a secondary commander in a way, but he doesn't have the same ranking as Mr. X. So yeah, let's continue here, guys. Let's see what happens here. But things are off to a good start, though. I'm liking how everything is going so far. Aww. All right, so we're going from like Zetas and Vicious and Fury's perspective, and now we're transitioning into Mr. O perspective. So in case you're not familiar, Mr. O is a lesser. Lessers are vampire slayers, okay? So they want to eradicate the vampire species, because in this particular universe, vampires are more secretive in some ways, and they don't really interact too much with humans because it can cause problems for their race. So they drink from each other. It's very interesting, and J.R. Ward does a really good job in this. Like, I can tell now this book is a lot better than her first book. I can tell that she's more constructive with her descriptions, and the way her lines, you know, the adjectives that she uses are just the metaphors. They're really well, really well done, I have to say. So we're on page 6 now, so we're doing good, making good progress here. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry. Hey, we have Paul. Hey, welcome, Paul, to the program. And Paul is great. Paul says, I would watch you read a phone book. You know, like, that would be fun to read a phone book. That would be interesting. And Paul also says I am a chocolate princess. I have never been called a chocolate princess before. Usually I'm called like a Grim Reaper. I'm either that or I get called a grandma. I get called ugly, bitch, slut, whore. Like I get called all the opposite things. So chocolate princess, I'm gonna take that compliment. Thank you so much, my friend. So welcome, of course, to the program here, Bookshade. We are a book, they call it booktube. I don't know what to call it on Twitch. I think I'm gonna call it like book Twitch. There we go. We are a book Twitch program, so we focus on literature. Specifically, I focus mainly on, we talk a lot about horror literature. To break it down from there, I read a lot of paranormal romance, vampire romance. Recently, I just started reading about shapeshifter romances. Those are very interesting, guys. They really are. What else? Yeah, what else we do here? I also talk about webtoons, both adult webtoons and regular webtoons. Those are comics from South Korea. And then I also talk about historical fiction. But as of yesterday, I made the announcement that I'm going to be playing what are called Otomi games. And these are romance games that come from Japan, and they are fabulous, and they have really kick-ass storylines. So welcome to the program, and I appreciate it. What I'm doing right now is what's called a reading sprint. So you try to see how much you can read within a certain amount of time, and then after that time is over, then I do a recap on what I have read. This is one of the trends that's going on within the booktube community, as they're called, and I decided to try it myself. And it's fun, you know. You get to read, and I get to interact with you guys as my alternative book snobs. But so far so good. I mean, this is really good. We're about like midway to the first half of the chapter here, so let's see what else happens here. Oh, wait, I got a problem, of course. If it rains, guys, it pours. I don't know why I'm having issues. I don't know what's going on, guys. This is so frustrating. Okay, guys, I am well, I was done reading anyway. But I will be right back, guys. I gotta fix a problem here. For some reason, my audiobook stopped working. Oh yeah, just to let you guys know, I did get a Audible Escape subscription, just so that I could read these books, the audio books. But then after that, I'm probably not gonna keep it because it can get expensive, you know. But what Audible Escape is it is a subscription service for those of us that are interested in romance audiobooks, and they have like new ones that come out, you know, ever so often and stuff. And it's not that bad. It's pretty, like, it's not too bad. If you have Kindle Unlimited, then you can get, see, it depends too. Make sure you do your research because prices can change. But if you have the Kindle Unlimited subscription plus the Audible Escape, you get a discount, so it's a little bit cheaper. But I don't know why it just stopped working for some reason. I don't know why, but let me fix it, guys, and I'll be right back. I'm so sorry, guys. This show really sucks, let me tell you. All right, I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, let's try this again. Let's see if I can get this working here. All right, I got it, guys. Sorry about this. Okay, I don't know why, but like for some reason it just froze. Like it just stopped working, so I had to like restart my Kindle, and now hopefully it wants to work. But yeah, the Audible Escape is not too bad. It doesn't have all the books, you know, but if you combine it with like using your library, it's not, I mean, it's not bad. So that's the way, guys, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, is through either my library or through the Audible Escape. But I'm just using it for now just to read the books that are within the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. But I might get it again in the future because they do have a lot of really big series, but some of them, like some of the series, they don't have all of them. They just kind of have here the ones that are like available. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie, guys. Audible, it can be expensive, because if you think about it, you're okay, so you're paying for your Amazon Prime, then you're paying for the Kindle Unlimited plus Audible plus Audible Escape. That gets expensive, you know. It really does. So if you guys know of cheaper alternatives to audiobook like services and subscriptions, leave it in that brutally honest, vicious comment section below, because I would love to hear from you guys, because it gets expensive. It really does. And don't get me wrong, guys, Kindle Unlimited is great, especially like you guys know I'm into interracial romance books too. I love interracial romance. Oh my gosh. But it's a great resource for that, because they have tons of interracial authors, you know, releasing tons and tons of stuff on Kindle Unlimited. And I also read a lot of what they call curvy romances, also known as the big beautiful woman, yes, okay, BBW romances. They got so many that are really entertaining, and oh man, guys, let me tell you, today I am sweating. All right, there we go. All right, let's continue here, guys, and hopefully, I'm so sorry, guys, like today is just one of those days. I'm like sweaty and itchy on my hair today. It'll be a better day. I just have to keep telling myself that. Okay, there we go. All right, let's keep going here, guys. Woo! Oh, hey, we have Ash. What's up, Ash? Welcome to the program. And Ash says 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not surprised. I get so many requests to do my impressions on the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. I don't know, maybe it's just because the release of Midnight Sun finally came out. Like, it took forever, right? And I'm not into Twilight like that, guys. Like, for me, what got me into vampire literature, oh, and Ash says I didn't say Grey, but if you say 50 Shades, that's what you're referring to. Obviously. But I digress. No disrespect, but it's like, come on, if you say 50 Shades, it's 50 Shades of Grey it's there. I mean, come on. But I digress. So yeah, I get a lot of requests for it. I think maybe it's just because of Midnight Sun coming out. But overall, I have to say though, how I feel about 50 Shades of Grey, it's not good for a couple of reasons. Number one, it kind of glamorizes a unhealthy relationship. It stereotypes rich people because not all like rich people, you know, act like that. And then it also puts this negative stereotype perception on like women have to be submissive if you want to have a good relationship with a man, and that's not true. So there's a lot of problematic issues within the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, and all you're just trying to be messy, Ash. Come on now. But 50 Shades of Grey is pretty much the upgraded adult version of Twilight. That's all it is. That's all 50 Shades of Grey is. It's just a adult spin-off of Twilight. It's, you know. And Ash has a good point here and says that relationship is about balance. Yeah, it really is. And not only balance, but also honesty. You know, a lot of times, and this comes on both sides, it's like, you know, a lot of times, like, the woman is not always being, you know, or, you know, whatever you're into, the woman's not being honest with her partner. So it's like, okay, well, how do you expect a guy or, you know, your lady or whoever, they can't read your mind. So if you're not comfortable enough to have that type of open relationship with them, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. I just feel like, you know, a relationship now, it's all about the glamour, like, oh, I'm with somebody. But to really, to me, a relationship is not only honesty, but it's also being secure and being proud of being with the person that you're with. You know, and Ash also says trust and yeah, loyalty too. Yeah, loyalty is important. I noticed on both sides, men, women, same sex too, just from my research, it seems that loyalty and honesty is those are really big things. And then money too plays a role too. Money and lifestyle kind of go hand in hand. You know, and it may seem like it's superficial, but I think it's also important to be with someone who understands your lifestyle as well. Like, you know, for me, I consider myself a alternative booktuber. So for me, I love rock, I love metal, that kind of stuff. So I can't be with someone, you know, I can't be, for example, with a man who would not respect the things that I'm into, and vice versa. So those are the things that I pay attention to. Like, if a guy is interested in me, the first thing I look at is, you know, how secure is he within himself? Like, how does he handle himself? How does he carry himself? You know, is this someone that I can confide in? Is this someone that I can trust? Is this someone that would, you know, follow, in my case, you know, I would like to be married someday. It's not, you know, marriage is not for everybody, but for me personally, you know, I think about that, you know, I think about like, okay, would this person be there for me if I was sick, and vice versa? So you know, you have to put work into a relationship. I think a lot of times people just want the glamour, you know, they want to brag to their friends like, hey, look, I have someone, I'm not alone anymore. But that's not what being in a relationship is about, you know, like, and it's not a competition, you know, like sometimes, and this is just me, you know, sometimes like I see my friends and, you know, they're in really wonderful relationships and stuff. And then I was like, oh, you know, someday I would like that too. But then sometimes, you know, it becomes a little bit of a competition. It shouldn't. Because then what starts to happen is like, okay, all your friends are, you know, starting to meet people, and then you're still single, and then you start asking yourself like, well, is something wrong with me? No, that's not always the case. It's just sometimes love takes time, and you have to allow that time to happen so that you meet the right type of person. You know, I'm not a dating expert in any shape or form, but I'm just talking from experience. So I agree with Ash, you know, you got to have loyalty there. Oh, Ash, you know, but yeah, you know, it's so important. But yeah, it's important if you want to be in a relationship, guys. It men, women, whatever, it's like, understand that it's a responsibility. It's not something to go brag with your friends. It's not a fantasy. You're literally bringing two people together, two different lifestyles, you know, values. Like, these are the things you have to look at. So a lot of times, like my guy friends say I'm hard on men, and it's not me being hard on men. It's me making, you know, it's me making sure that you understand what you're getting into. You know, like for me, it's like what you see is what you get. I don't put up a front. I am always myself. So I don't, you know, I'm not the type of woman that's going to be one way during the date, and then when things get serious, I turn into something else, you know. So it's not me being hard on men, but it's like I want for men to understand that you have to have realistic standards. So before you get with a woman or whatever you're into, you have to ask yourself, you know, why do you want to get into a relationship? Like, are you getting into a relationship because you just want to look good in front of your guy friends, or are you getting into a relationship because you sincerely love the person, you want to be with them, you know, long term? You know, that to me, long term. And you know, is this someone that you look forward to? You know, is this someone that respects your lifestyle, respects what you do, and do you respect them back? Because see, love is not a one-way street, guys. It's a two-way street, and both people have to be accountable to make it happen. And you don't get into a relationship because of comparing yourself to other people, even though that's a natural human instinct and that's part of human nature, that you're going to compare. But when it comes to your heart, I think that's something that you shouldn't be comparing. No, you should be comparing to yourself, and you know, and not even comparing. You should be like, okay, this is what I want, and take it seriously, you know. And I agree with Ash too, saying that it's about the give and take. Yeah, and there's also sacrifices too, you know. And see, that's the part where, you know, some people struggle. Is like, you know, are you willing? Let's say, you know, your partner is like, man, I got this really bomb ass job, and you know, it would put us in a better place within society, or you know, just for us to take care of each other better. You know, are you comfortable, you know, moving and doing that type of stuff? So those are the things you have to think about. You a fool. Oh my gosh, Ash is savage with the jokes today. But yeah, those are the things you have to think about, guys. That's why I love, trust me, Ash, I ignored it. I'm not gonna say it because I'm a classy lady. Okay, well, semi-classy. But these are the things, you know, that I always tell my friends. I tell people, even people who come to the show and be like, hey, I'm single, I want to be in a relationship. you know, or I wonder why I can't get into a relationship. You can't have that mindset. Love is a natural manifestation. It just has to happen naturally. You can't force it. And it's okay to be single. Okay, it's okay for you to have this time to, you know, explore, find out your pros and cons, and become the person that you need to be. And then that's when a relationship sometimes happens. Is, you know, it sounds cliche, like things like a relationship happens as when you least expect it. That there's some truth to that, because when you're looking for a relationship, that's when you get into what I like to call the fuck shit. That's when you get into that ratchet shit, you know what I mean? You get into that situation that you don't want to get into, such as a relationship that it's like y'all should have not even tried it, you know? So yeah, you have to have realistic standards, and that comes with maturity. You know, you don't know who you are until you experience certain things in life, but you gotta be smart with it. You know, if you see that this person doesn't like you, why are you with them? It blows my mind, guys, how many times I see couples where they're arguing all the time, and it's not that like sexy kind of arguing, you know, it leads to something cool or something like that. All jokes aside, but it's like you just see that they are unhappy, and it's just like, let it go. You know, like it's just not worth it. Like I'd rather let someone go that doesn't want to be with me versus like, you know, being like, all right, let's just, you know, see how this works out. No, you're wasting both of your time. You could be with someone else, you know, that is worth your time. So thank you, Ash, for the follow. Okay, no, I'm being extra, but Ash says everyone wants a lady like you, a mature woman. Thank you, I appreciate that. But you know, there's a pro and con to it, guys. There's a pro and con to being smart, because when you're smart, people, especially in the society that we live in now, unfortunately, intelligence is interesting, but intelligence is being seen as something that equals to you being condescending, like you're looking down at others, or it can imply that you're entitled, because I get called this all the time. Okay, being intelligent doesn't mean that you think. Does it happen? Yeah, but it doesn't always mean that you're better than someone else. Being intelligent means that you are taking the time to learn things to help yourself be a better person, or to the people who are open to maybe understanding your perspective of knowledge, you know? So what happens to me sometimes is I got a couple of things I have to deal with. Number one, to be transparent, being a woman of color, intelligence is not always associated with someone that looks like me. So what I'm subjected to is, oh, wait a minute, like, you're a woman of color, like, I didn't think women of color, like, acted like that. So I have to deal with stereotypes. And then on top of that, I have to deal with culture shock of people not thinking someone like me could be well-spoken, or someone like me could have some type of intellectual thought because of the way that I look. So those are some of the challenges that I have to deal with. And then you're adding relationships into that. Then what starts to happen sometimes is, if you're a well-spoken person, or you carry yourself in a certain way that is different than the norm of what people expect, then people start to get intimidated by you. And then it makes relationships tough, because it's like, hey, I'm gonna be me, you know. And a lot of times too, people will tell you, this is the dumbest dating advice, is like, oh, you need to tone it down. No, you don't need to tone nothing down. If someone loves you, they gonna love you and everything that comes with it. You know, they're gonna love your family, they're gonna love you, they're gonna love whatever, you know, whatever they find attractive about you. So don't compromise your personality. The only thing you really should compromise on, and that's later on after you guys get serious, is compromising to understand each other's feelings or making decisions, because once you get in a relationship with someone, it's not always about you. It's sometimes you gotta make like couple decisions. You still have to be your own person. You still have to be independent too. You know, there's a symbiotic kind of relationship. That's what I think of it as. You know, you're your own individuals. You still do the things that you used to do, but there are still things that you have to do as a couple. And sometimes your single friends will not understand that, and that's okay. But if they're good friends to you, they should respect the type of relationship that you have. Period. Okay? The library is closed, okay? Right? But yeah, that's just coming from experience and what I have endured and what I have been through. You know, like, oh my gosh, the story times I have for you guys. Oh man. And Ash says, best decision, tap on this channel. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. And Ash is saying, what are the cons? I kind of explained that, like, be more like, are the cons of being intelligent or the cons of relationships? And then Ash also says, for me, every color is equal. I wish it was true, my friend. I really wish it was. But in some aspects, it's tough. It really is. Because of stereotypes, some cultures are not as valued as others. I just have to keep it real. Like, you know, hopefully with the changes that we're seeing in society now, maybe things will start to balance out. But it's going to take some time because we got so many things that we have to address. We have to address, first off, better race relations amongst all the different colors, you know, all the different cultures we have, all the different religious values and political values. Like, we have to address all of that and the balances and imbalances of that. And before we even start with, like, you know, how can we get along better? You know, we have to address all these things. You know, we have to talk about all the misconceptions. Like, for example, people who are like, you know, myself, I support interracial relationships. I've been in interracial relationships. So those are the things that we have to address, you know, is the comfortability levels of, you know, people who have different political views, people who have different dietary and those type of things, and having a different mindset. And then we also have to recognize too that some people, that's just the way they think and they're set in their ways and that's just who they are. So you either have to accept it or it's not your cup of tea. So that's the other thing. You know, so before we get to this type of society, in my opinion, where everyone contributes and it's valid, we have to address all these things that are causing the imbalances that causes us to stereotype each other and makes the world a more hostile place, which it shouldn't be. Unfortunately, it is, and it sucks. So all we can do is just be ourselves and surround ourselves around the people that accept us, regardless of race, that accept us for being who we are. And that's all you can do. You cannot change people's perspectives. They have to change within themselves. You know, all you can do is just be yourself or give the knowledge or whatever. You know, you really can't change people's minds. Because if you try to have that mindset, you can't really enjoy your life because you're stressed out all the fucking time. So for me, I had to kind of change my mindset, change my narrative. And that is, I surround myself around people who accept me, and or people who they may have a difference of opinion, but we can still have respectable conversations where different opinions are valid. And it takes a lot to have that kind of, that just comes with experience. It comes with wisdom, and that's just how it goes, you know. And Ash says, intelligence, the cons of being intelligent. Well, there's a couple. First off, like I said before, people think that you're looking down at them. And and it's not your fault. Like, that's more of something within themselves that they have to address, you know. And I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm just talking from experience as a disclaimer. So a lot of times, like, and this is why it's difficult for me to keep it real, to make friends and stuff like that, is because the first thing people think about when I talk this way, or, you know, the like stuff like this that I like, is they automatically assume that, like, you know, that I'm going to judge them for the things that they like, which is not true. I am the most, like, you know, I everybody, you know, they have their beliefs and values and everything, but for me, I keep myself open-minded because I want to learn so that I can continue to be a decent human being the best way I can. I'm not perfect. There's things that I'm still learning. There's stuff that, you know, I'm I'm still confused on, but, you know, that's part of the life learning process, guys. You know, just because you know, just because you're an adult, for example, that doesn't mean you stop learning. You're always learning something. So that's just me personally. But that's the first con, is that people start to look down at you because they think you're, like, acting like you're high and mighty. And does that happen? Yeah, there are some people that be feeling themselves, you know, they be feeling themselves a little too much, but that's just their personality. That's just who they are. And you just learn how to, like, deal with those type of personalities, you know. Like me, I'm a lot of woman, well, physically, but also, you know, my personality, I'm very loud. I can be extra sometimes, but that's just my type of personality. So for me, my friends understand that, so they work around it. And then also myself, I've learned, you know, some of my friends are introverts, so I've also learned that instead of me, like, talking all the time, I've also learned to be an active listener, because introverted people, they need, it's kind of like they have this internalized battery, is the best way. And actually, guys, one of my favorite drag queens, her name is Cameron Michaels. I watched a really good interview, and she was explaining that when you're an introverted person, it doesn't mean that you're not social. You just kind of have this internalized battery that's inside of you, that once it gets full, you just need a moment to, like, process everything, or you may need just a moment to yourself to reflect. And I have friends that are like that. Me, you can see I'm very extroverted. Okay, get your life. But not all of my friends are that way, so I've had to learn too, like, oh, okay, I think their battery is getting overloaded, let me just go do something, or let me go talk to myself. You know, so that just comes with knowledge, you know. Wow, that's real deep, my friend. Ash is asking, what advice would you give to a person who is still not over his last relationship from, like, 3 years ago? That's really tough, because, and I've been through something similar like that. The first thing, and I'm not a psychiatrist, once again, as a disclaimer, I'm just talking from my experience and my heart. To me, the first thing, like, there was a guy that I really liked, you know, and I really thought it was going to work, and then we broke up, and then I was broken. You know, like, I was turning on them Keisha Cole records, all up in my feelings, you know. But it was hard. Like, I couldn't get over it. So for me, you know, I can't answer this for you, because that's something that you have to figure out on your own. But for me, it took some time, because sometimes you have to just let it, you just have to, like, process it. And for some people, it takes longer than others. But you do have to get to a point where you have to accept what happened, and then you have to move on. Because if you don't move on, and that's what can happen, you know, my friend went through something similar like that, is when you don't move on, and then you meet someone that really correlates with all the things that you've been really seeking inside of your heart and everything, then it makes it tough for you to open up to that person. And then sometimes that person thinks that you don't trust them because your heart is still locked. You know, you still have these walls of like defense, you know. So my thing, I would say, is to go and talk to like a psychiatrist, you know, talk to someone, because I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't make the call on that. But I would say, you know, talking to someone that you can trust, a psychiatrist, a mentor, is very important, because sometimes those feelings that you have that you can't get over, sometimes you can't get over it yourself. Sometimes you need someone to help you to understand that perspective. But see, love is a really tough thing because love is so interpersonal. So that's what makes it tough sometimes when you're in a relationship that you really put, because let me tell you, relationships are investment. You really put in work. It's really deep when you get invested in a relationship. So I would say talk to like a psychiatrist, talk to someone that's a mentor. I can't really give you advice like that because this is a very deep question. No disrespect, my friend, but yeah, it's a very deep question. So I think that's something that you really have to talk to a professional or talk to a mentor, because it's something that's really embedded inside of yourself. And also you know that answer too. Like for me, it took some time and I had to like figure it out, but the way I figure it out is going to be different than you. So, but that was a good question though. I appreciate you taking time and being transparent like that, because that's hard. I mean, for me too, like when I love someone, I'm like that too. I love them, you know, like they're my king, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I put my heart into someone. So like when you're dealing with a breakup, that really sucks, because it's like first you blame yourself, then it's like, wait a minute, this person wasn't really feeling me either. But then you'll get to that point, my friend, where, you know, you'll move on and stuff, and then you just kind of look back. But if it's something that's still like making you, you know, feel not so great and you hurting, then I would say, yeah, definitely talk to like a psychiatrist, a mentor, someone that, and it has to be someone that you feel comfortable with and someone that you can trust. So if you're going to do that, you know, going to counseling or whatever it may be, make sure you know, get testimonials, talk to people who may know that person, because you're going to be pouring your heart out to someone, and you when it comes to that counseling process, it's like you want to make sure you're with someone that you have good chemistry with, and that's very important. That's something, you know, for me personally, that's very important. But that was a really good question, and thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure that was very tough for you to share that. So I appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck, my friend, because yeah, relationships are tough. Relationships are really, really tough, because you invest so much and you're putting your heart out there, you know. And you know, I always tell myself that it's like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna meet someone really awesome, really nice someday. And what's that country song by Georgia Florida, what is it, Georgia Florida line? You know, if it's meant to be, it will be. So that's just what I believe personally. But yeah, that was a good question. Yeah. All right, so my friends, we got a lot more to go here in the reading sprint action. And I think this weekend, guys, I'm gonna like go old school, man, nostalgia, and I'm gonna watch some Addams Family and Addams Family Values. I haven't watched those movies in so much time, and oh, I miss Raul Julia as Gomez. Yes, squad. I didn't like him as Bison though in that Street Fighter movie. No, thank you. Jean-Claude Van Damme was up in there, and he is fine as hell, but that movie was not the business. It's actually in, I believe, most people's top 10 like worst video game adaptation movies of all time, it's up there. Okay, it is definitely up there. It was just, you watch the trailer, guys, and it's bad. Now, some people want to criticize the sequel to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but, okay, if you compare it to the Street Fighter movie, you will thank me, okay? Mortal Kombat movies were so much better. Are they cheesy? Yeah, but it's Mortal Kombat, okay? It's meant to be exaggerated. I liked both movies, okay? I was feeling some Liu Kang, I was feeling some of that Goro. Yes, God. There's a lot, you know, a lot of 8 arms and all that. Yeah. This program is so ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do this weekend, is just like watch some classics. I need to watch Death Becomes Her. I heard that movie is legendary. It's a cult classic. So I will be reviewing movies and stuff too. I think that would be fun, because I'm really into movies. I watch a lot of like horror movies, stuff like that. And I have fun with it, because a lot of those movies, like one of my personal favorites is the Amityville Horror, the first movie. The first movie is ridiculous, guys, because the couple moves into the house and it's not even like a couple of days and the house is saying like, get out. Okay, that's a clear indication that the house does not want you here. But like the wife is all like, oh, let's just, you know, or the husband too, like, oh, let's just ignore it, because she's noticing. She's like, wait a minute, this house is just, there's some strange stuff happening up in here, like we need to bounce. But like the husband's like, oh no, we got a good deal on this house. And then the house starts messing with the husband, and this is like my favorite scene. So you see the wife come out and he's just like, I mean, he looks like he hasn't slept in days. Like it looked like they globbed on like 50 layers of like, you know, CoverGirl mascara. I mean, he looked crazy, okay? I would divorce him right there, y'all. And he's just sitting there. She's like, honey, are you okay? And he's just like, you know? He's like, I'm absolutely fine. And it's just like, no, you're not. The way you chopping that wood, honey, like, okay, I think I need to get away from you. But yeah, I like movies like that, like stuff like that. Silence of the Lambs and all that. But I think I'm gonna watch some of those this weekend. Watch some classics while I'm reading my historical romance. Woo. All right, I'm a mess. But all right, guys, let's start our second reading sprint countdown here. Gonna get this going. So I got 9 more rounds to go here. But so far, so good, guys. So we're learning the relationship between Mr. O and Mr. X, and how Mr. X is an asshole, guys. Like, he has no regards for anyone. Like, he just enjoys making people's lives miserable, whereas Mr. O is a little bit better, but he has, for some reason, he finds this redeeming quality in Becca. So we're gonna see what happens. Things are definitely going to get interesting here. And and Ash asks, how do we stop moms from nagging us? Well, just be good. That's the bottom line, guys. Like, I mean, for me, like, I was never an issue for my parents at all. Like, I remember when I went off to college and everything, I made sure every weekend it would be like 2, 3, 4 hours I would spend, you know, call my parents. Because see, my parents are the type that it's like, if I don't call them for like 2 days, they worry. So like I was always that, like, you know, good daughter like that. And my friends used to, oh my gosh, they used to drag me for filth. You know, like, we'd be hanging out in the dorms and stuff, and then I'd be like, you know, talking to my mom, and I was like, hey guys, say hi to my mom, and they're all like, your daughter's a loser. You know? I'd be like, guys, you're serious. Like, you know, and they're like, why do you always talk to your parents? Like, the whole point of college is like, you're supposed to like be independent. And I was like, okay, guys, last time I checked, okay, my mother, okay, gave me life. So, you know, like, I think talking to my mother weighs a little bit more. Okay, I came out of her. Like, you know, my dad also a part of that process. So, you know, so it's important, guys. I know I'm corny, but like, just respect your parents, okay? Like, really, your parents gave you life. And yeah, sometimes, you know, it depends on the relationship you have with your parents, but like, you know, for me, I'm really blessed that I have a great relationship with my parents. My parents accept me for being the person that I am, you know. I mean, sometimes they're just like, okay, this is interesting, all right. You know, like, okay, so for example, guys, you guys know, like, I like horror movies, so I was wearing this t-shirt with like crazy looking vampire on it, and I'm like walking by my mom, and my mom's like, what the? You know, like, then I had to explain it to my mom, and my mom's like, all right, okay, you do you, you know. So yeah, my parents are cool like that, but not all of us, you know, are privileged to, you know, have that kind of relationship, you know, with our parents. And I always feel bad when people tell me they don't have that kind of, you know, relationship with their parents. It really sucks, you know. But yeah, but for me, man, I've always been that good daughter. I, you know, make sure I keep in touch with my parents, you know, we're tight like this. We have that kind of relationship. So yeah, all through college, guys, people used to make fun of me for that. They'd be like, you're a grown-ass woman. You know, like why are you talking to your parents for like 3-4 hours? And I'm like, okay guys, you don't understand. I'm like catching up, okay, so my mother is the type, like, she want the tea, you know, so she want to know, like, okay, what did I do in my week, you know, what happened, what went down, you know, what was popping, you know. So that's why I be spending that time, you know, talking with my parents. But yeah, and that's the thing, guys, like, love your parents, okay? Not only because they gave you life, but it's just, to me, that's just how I was raised. You know, you respect your elders, like, don't be a dick, you know. I mean, I've had my dickish moments, okay, but it's just, that's just how I am, you know, with my parents. But like, yeah, it was funny, like, they'd be like, you're such a loser. I'm like, oh, thanks guys. You know, sorry for loving my parents, you know. Like, oh man. And yeah, I would call like almost every other weekend or something, or sometimes I would just leave them a message to be like, yeah, I'm still alive, just want to let you know. Woo-hoo. You know, click. So yeah, it's so important, guys. Like, you know, if your mom is like nagging you, it's usually because they do it out of love, or sometimes your mom might be, you know, cranky. You know, if you want a perfect example of that, guys, just watch the episode of Family Guy where Stewie is like annoying the hell out of Lois, but he's like, mom, mommy, mama. It's like, can you cut it out? You know, that's parenting 101 right there. Well, you know, parents are parents, Ash. Like, it doesn't, you know, I mean, there might be some cultural differences sometimes when it comes to parenting, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, parents just want, you know, for their children to you know, behave, you know, like, to be decent human beings, you know. It's not that hard. So, I mean, for me personally, I still debate if I would want to be a parent or not, because I just don't have that patience. I don't know. Props to all the fathers and the mothers out there that y'all gotta raise us demon children. I feel so bad for them, you know. And let me tell you, props to both the moms and dads out there, you know, because guys, to be a parent is a full-time job. It really is. Okay, like for example, for the women, all right, we gotta bake you in our stomach for 9 months, then you come out, and that's not an easy process. Okay, it'd be painful, all right, and then after that, then we gotta raise you to hope and pray you'll become a responsible adult through proper discipline. Okay, whew, a mess. And then if you a bad child, then we gotta deal with all that, you know, all the parent teacher conferences and all the all right, okay, we'll make sure he or she, you know, whoever behaves. It's a lot of work, you know. And then when you a baby, you know, we're breastfeeding you, trying to, like, you know, cook or whatever, or, you know, the father is trying to do it. You know, it's a lot of work, you know. And then parents are up all night. That's why you see, like, you can tell like who are new parents because they look like they need eye cream all the time, because babies don't sleep, man. I was reading a book like that, where the parents were, they were, well, no, the father, he was a single father, and there's a scene where he and his love interest, they like, okay, they put the baby to sleep, make sure the baby was okay, you know, being a responsible parent, right? And then they're just like, all right, it is time to get it on. You know, it's about to go down, you know. It's a love making time. And, you know, they're getting into it. And then all of a sudden, the baby's like, wah, wah, wah. And he's just like, damn. That's the book I'm reading right now. It's super good, guys. I can't wait to do the review on it. Yo, and usually I'm not into sports romances, but I highly recommend it. It's definitely a book for men to read as well. It's a great book. It doesn't even feel like a romance book at all, but it's super good, like super good. He's like a hockey player, and then he falls in love with a woman that's a master's degree student, and she wants to become a teacher. And it's so advanced, like, no stereo. I mean, there's some tropes in there, but it's executed well, you know. And then Ash says, then boom, another baby after 9 months. Well, no thank you. You know, that's what I debate about. I'm like, do I want to be a parent? Do I not want to be a parent? Do I want to be a parent? Do I not? Because, like, you know, there are pros, you know, like, you know, you have this pride for your children and that kind of thing. But then the cons for me is, like, I see most parents, they don't really have that independence like they used to, you know, when they were single. And, you know, and some parents, they get real crabby, you know. They're like, you know, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, and they're like, oh, I have like 5 kids. Like, and then some parents too, because, you know, they're doing all this stuff, they let themselves go. And I don't know how parents do it. You know, like, I see some of these parents, you know, all those like hot dads and stuff. And I'm like, how do you have time to work out? Okay. And not everybody has 5 kids. Okay. But you know what I mean? It's like, how do you have time to have a 6-pack and you got like 6 babies at home? Like, good God, you know, like, that's, I'm like, how do both of these parents look fine as hell right now? And they got like triple like strollers and shit. I don't know. It's not for me. I still go back and forth, but I really feel I just don't have the patience to be a mother. I would not put up with it. I'd be like, please sit down, you know, like, please stop acting a fool. Okay, I'm tired of coming to these doggone, you know, parent and teacher conferences. You're pissing me off, you know. Because I feel my family would be like the Addams family. I would be like a Black Morticia, you know, like, that's how I would feel, you know. I would have all the moms judging me, you know, all that shit. Yeah. And let me tell you guys, there'd be drama between the mothers. Ooh. a mess. Okay. And the dads, they be having their own kiki. A mess. Okay, but yeah, I go back and forth because some parts of me would be like, oh yeah, that's nice, but then I also think about all the diapers, the medical bills. You gotta go like this when they're a baby, burp that shit, you know, got vomit all over you, and you don't have time for yourself anymore, you know, unless you get like a nice like babysitter or some shit. I don't think it's for me. All right, guys, let's do this second round of reading sprint action here, and let's see how this goes. All right, we are starting now. And Ash says, "Marry a responsible man then." Okay, let me answer that. Okay, so are there responsible men? Yes, that is very true. Shout outs to y'all. But most of the men that are responsible are taken. And I'm not gonna be that woman, okay? I'm not gonna be the side woman, okay? So there are responsible men out there, but I haven't had the the best of luck. Like, most of the men that are interested in me, they assume like, oh, she's fat, so that means she has low self-esteem and she probably doesn't give a shit about herself. So, you know, or they want to do the get with the plus size woman challenge. That's usually the other problem I have, where I have men that are attracted to me, but then they're just like, oh, I was just getting with you because you fat, you know, so I can go kiki with my friends, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, nah. So this is just me. This is my belief. You know, love is supposed to happen. It's gonna happen. I don't have to look for it. I don't have to do nothing. It will just happen. We will complement each other. God will make it happen. That's what I'm doing. Because sometimes they have this saying that says, when you go looking for a man, you looking for problems. Okay? That's just how it goes. Like, sometimes when you desperate for love, then you get into the wrong type of relationship. So not worth it. Not worth it, my friend. So, you know, now don't get me wrong. You know, for me, I like foreign men. That's just, you know, I like foreign men. I like American men. That's just me. I like the white chocolate daddies. I like my Asian daddies, my Latino, you know, men. Like, that's just my preferences. That's what I'm attracted to. And there are a lot of really good, nice guys out here for sure. But I feel like when love is supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. I'm not looking for no man. If God wants to make it happen, he'll make it happen, Captain. Okay, so that's just what I believe. Okay, but you know, there are a lot of nice American men and stuff, but this is just me. I feel with some American guys, they want like the supermodel type. They try plus size women just to be like, okay, I got with Lizzo, you know what I mean? And then that's it. Like, they not always trying to, and don't get me wrong, there are men, American guys, who like plus size women, but I've noticed it's usually men that are foreign that like plus size women too, a little bit more, because there are men that they don't have a preference. There are men that have specific preferences, just like women, right? Or, you know, or whatever you're attracted to. But I've just noticed as a plus size woman, some of the challenges that I have is that guys don't take me seriously because I'm plus size. They want to use me because they need something to try or something to get props from their friends. Because they, especially in college, guys, they have this like try a fat woman challenge. This is actually true. Okay? Guys be talking and they be like, oh, have you ever been with a fat woman before? You should try it. So sometimes that, not all men, because I'm not going to put them in the same category and generalize, but there are some men that they look for plus size women to pretend to be attracted to them so that they can, you know, say, oh, I've been with a fat woman. There's something about like this, you get props. And there's also the opposite side of it where, and to be fair, there are men who are very, very attracted to plus size women, but sometimes it's hard for them to articulate that because of societal implications. And like when you're plus size, it's seen as like you're not attractive, because the standard of beauty in America, let's just keep it real, is like a Naomi Campbell, it's a Tyra Banks, it's a you know, Cindy Crawford, or like, you know, it's very rare that you see like plus size women being seen like that. And people will be, I know there are going to be people in the comment section being like, well, there's Lizzo. Lizzo is an exception. Is she beautiful? Yes, but they don't treat her the same way that they treat a Naomi Campbell or something like that. So, you know, for me, that's the challenge that I deal with, is that if a guy likes me, I have to like kind of go through my questionnaire. You know, it's kind of like, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the movie RoboCop. I love RoboCop. But it's kind of like that, where I'm just like, you know, analyzing, you know, I'm going through the questionnaire in my mind, like, okay, is this man sincere? Boop, 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 you know. Is he with me just because I'm fat? Boop, 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 you know. So those are some of the things that you know, that I have to deal with. Maybe I'll do a separate episode just talking about that, like talking about plus size like romance books and talking about that, because yeah, I have very unique challenges as a plus size woman. Like guys really, I mean, the standard of beauty, like I said, in America is like the supermodel type. It's just recently that plus size women started to be seen as attractive, but then you still get criticized. You know, I still get, like, guys, I get called a gorilla. That's the thing that makes me laugh. I get called a gorilla. I have been called a monkey, like, but if I was like Naomi Campbell, it would be the opposite. If I looked like Rihanna, it would be the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I would be, you know, dudes be telling me like, oh man, you look good, you look good. But because I'm plus size, they will say like, oh, you look good for, you know, a fat woman, you know? So it's hard. I wish it was true, Ash, but physical attraction is when it comes to men, that's like the number one thing they look at, and then underneath that is personality. It kind of goes hand in hand, you know? And Ash says that outer appearance is not everything, and it's inside matters, for me at least. See, you're an exception to the rule then. But like most men I see, you know, it's about the, you know, is she that, you know, they have that term, the baddie, you know? It's like this bad woman, you know, she got the looks, you know, she got it going on, you know, that's what it's about. Like, you know, for me, I have geek hobbies and stuff like that, so I would have to be more, and that's just me. I like those librarian guys, you know, I like the lumberjack daddies, you know, like, you know, I like that, you know, I like the power lifters, bodybuilders, but the thing is, like, I know deep in my mind, would some of them be attracted to me? Yeah, there are some muscular men that like plus size women. There are some. But the other majority, I am not their type. So that's the reason why I keep to myself and I'll let God do his thing. Because, you know, there's someone out there for everybody. So you can't force love. It has to happen naturally, you know? And, oh, Ash says, that's what I learned after your breakup. Yeah. So that's the thing is, you know, I hate to say it, but people do weigh appearance more than personality in a generalist sense. Are there exceptions to the rule? Yeah, like for me, I'll be honest, it's 50-50 for me. You know, it's if their personality shines and they look nice, you know, and nice to me is like good hygiene and you have a good presentation. You don't gotta be looking like, you know, supermodel like that, but if I see that you care about yourself, that's what is attractive to me, you know. And Ash says there should be nothing like a type in love. Yeah, but everybody got a type though. As much as some people say they don't got a type, everybody is attracted to something. Okay, like for example with me, I like guys that wear like glasses. I like the what they would call it, the like I like older men, you know. So that's just me personally. You know, I'm very attracted to Asian men, very attracted to you know, Latino men, and like and white guys. And see, the main reason why I am is because those are the type of men that were attracted to me. So I was just like, well, if you know, the guys that like me, I'm going to be attracted back to them, you know. So, and Ash says that's conditional love then. Yeah, but that's just how it is, my friend. From my opinion, is love is just, especially I would say, you know, from my research of relationships and stuff in America, physical appearance is weighed more than personality. I know it sucks, but that's just, you know, and especially for women, the older you get, that's the more undesirable you get. The American culture is based on, you know, the next generation, what's new, what's fresh, what's new, what's fresh. And if you're old, you get canceled. You know how many times, guys, people tell me on my show that I'm too old to be doing this? Like, people cancel me right off the bat. They don't even give me a chance. But, you know, if I was looking like one of those baddies, I'm like, yeah, you know, and acting like that, oh my gosh, like people would be giving me props, you know. But that's just how it goes. So what you do is you just find your demographic that works for you and you just flow with that and you're good, you know. So that's, for me, I'm straight up, like, I know what I'm attracted to, I know what, you know, I like and what I don't like. And that doesn't mean that it's conditional love. That means that you know what you want and you secure in what you want, you know. And we can agree to disagree, Ash, but that's just the reality from my experience. It may be different for you, it may be different for other people, but I notice especially men are very visual. Okay, like if you think about it, okay, like I'll give a perfect example, right? Megan Thee Stallion, okay? Everybody been talking about her. She is bad, okay? She is that baddie, okay? And she is very secure in herself. She knows she's popping. She's very sexy, right? But look at her music videos. Like, her music videos, they are designed in you know, even though, you know, she's representing for the ladies, but in my opinion, when you watch Megan Thee Stallion's videos, they're very visually pleasing to men. And if you watch a lot, like, there's exceptions here and there, but what I did, guys, was I did this kind of cross comparison. I looked at hip-hop music videos and like rap music videos, for example, from like the 90s and let's just say like early 2000s, and I looked at music videos now, and there was a slight shift into the modern like hip-hop like rap music video. There was still this theme of like female, very strong female sexuality, but it was geared through the eyes of male sexuality, like the general way of seeing how men view sexuality. And this is heterosexual, okay? So just to be clear. So I did that, and I noticed that in the 80s and 90s, like, there were exceptions here and there because there's different types of rap and hip-hop. Some are going to have more, like, it's more, the sexuality is more like extreme in your face, and some more, like, I would say it's more philosophical and things like that, and more poetic. It depends on the hip-hop you like listening to. So those music videos from the 80s and 90s, I noticed that the women, there was more like diversity in the women. There were women of all, you know, different skin tones. There was more of this building of a relationship, and it just wasn't just the sex appeal. You know, there was cinematics that were added in there. So sometimes it was even a little bit sensual. It was interesting. But then once past the early 2000s, I started to see this shift where women were more, the focal point was how sexy can you get this woman. Okay, when you look at Megan Thee Stallion, I mean, she oozes sex appeal. Like, I love her. She's fabulous, you know, and she's super confident, and she's got, outside of her looks, guys, whether you love her or hate her, she is an amazing MC. She writes her songs, like, her bars are solid. Like, solid, consistent, you know? But because she looks good, that's all sometimes people focus on, instead of her actual lyric ability. Like, guys, if you ever have a chance, check out a Megan Thee Stallion freestyle. You will be blown away. I mean, she could go for days. Okay, that's how talented she is. But because she's a baddie, you know, which nothing wrong with that, but that's all, the physical outweighs her intellectual. So unfortunately, that's just how our society works. It's not fair, it's not right, but the physical outweighs the personality. And how I know this is because I know a lot of people who are single because of this, because they don't fit the certain key criteria that is kind of a societal thing when it comes to attractiveness. They have an amazing personality, but because of the way that they look, people do not want to give them a time of day, which is really sad. It's really, really sad. And even myself, I deal with that, you know? And as you get older, it gets worse and worse because, and you see this in Hollywood, you know, you see these older women getting all this plastic surgery and stuff. Sometimes they're not getting plastic surgery because they want it for themselves. They're trying to make sure that they can compete with these new Hollywood women coming in with the tighter skin and the slimmer waist. So it's this revolving cycle, guys. Unfortunately, the physical, I noticed that for men, the physical weighs more sometimes than the personality. And if you want to prove me wrong, please do. But from my experience, that's just what I noticed. Like with me, I wasn't that baddie, you know. I wasn't pretty enough, you know. I didn't have that slim waist, you know, and that kind of stuff. So that turned a lot of men off. But I'm not gonna, you know, start getting plastic surgery because I'm trying to compete with. Love is not competition. Shouldn't be, you know, unless you on The Bachelor or Bachelorette. That show is a mess, y'all. Ooh, that show. My mom loves it though, but I can't watch it because it makes me so mad. Where it's like you can clearly tell this person really is feeling you, but you gonna send them home. Like, really? But I digress, guys. I could talk about The Bachelor, Bachelorette all day, but you know, yeah, that's that's what I have to deal with, you know. It's like I'm getting older, so I don't have those same looks or whatever, and you know, I'm plus size, so I can't compete with these, you know, skinny female streamers out here. You know, so yeah, that's all. Today was actually a good day, because usually when I'm doing the show, I am just getting bombarded with, you a ugly ass fat bitch, you a ugly, you look like a gorilla. You know, you know, you probably, you know, you are a slut, bitch, whore, like, all because of how I look like. So, you know, because of that, like, that's why I try to, you know, I mean, I have my days where I don't wear makeup. You know, I'm learning now, like, the older I'm getting, that's the more I'm not giving a fuck, you know what I mean, by what people think about me. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie and not tell y'all that it doesn't hurt when someone calls me a gorilla, or when someone says that I'm ugly. I won't sit here and lie and say that doesn't hurt. Then I'm like comparing myself to these, you know, younger ladies now coming up, and I was like, damn, I wish I looked like that. Ooh, look at her, she a baddie, I wish I had that, you know. There's so many extremes, guys. There's so many extremes. Like, it's hard, you know. And then when you older too, then the other extreme you gotta deal with, because they're like, oh, you that older baddie, okay, you know. And then that puts pressure on you, you know. So it's like I'm constantly wearing makeup like 5-6 days a week, but now I don't care. I give myself 2 days off. I like wearing makeup, that's just me. But yeah, I feel like there's this pressure for men and women, where it's like, if you not looking, if you not that baddie, you know, and even for the fellas too, to be fair, you know, the guys, they gotta have that six-pack, you know. Like, pressure, it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot, you know. And thank you for calling me beautiful, man, I appreciate that. And then when you have this voice like I have, then you know what else I deal with? I got people constantly being like, are you a woman or are you a man? Are you a woman or are you a man? Like, I'm constantly dealing with that, and I had to address it even yesterday, to be like, I'm a straight woman. I have a deep voice. What? You know? So this is why I just, like, I keep to myself. I play my video games, and when it happens, okay? And Ash says those guys probably don't know what a real woman is. True, but also, you know, they have their preferences as well. But sometimes some guys be straightforward with it, but other guys be like, all right, let me try her out because she got a nice personality. All right, she look kind of good a little bit, you know. But I would rather have the guy be honest and be like, okay, you know what, it's just not working, you know. Like, honesty is the best policy sometimes, okay? And oh, Ash says that's the most mature voice I've ever heard on a woman. Yeah, I get that a lot. Like, a lot of people are like, your voice is very narrating, and I'm like, well, thank you. Okay, instead of being like, you a gorilla. And I was like, look, okay, people want to make fun of gorillas, but I wouldn't mess around with a gorilla. They got 5 times the strength of one human person. Okay? If you call me a gorilla, I appreciate it. That means I am 10 times the strength. Okay? But yeah, it's just yeah, it's a mess, y'all. It's a mess. All right, man, this is a good episode today. We're talking real shit. All right. Oh, cool. All right, so we're gonna do another 20 minutes here, guys. Reading sprint, and let's see what happens. And yeah, let's get it popping here. All right, and 20 minutes starting now. All right, hopefully this works. Oh, and guys too. Okay, just to let you know, during a reading sprint, you can read along too if you want. Even if you don't have this book, the whole point of it is like it's kind of like mukbangs but with books. Book mukbang. Okay, that's what I'm gonna call this now. A book mukbang. Hashtag book mukbang. Because that's literally what a reading sprint is. It's just a book mukbang. You're trying to see how much you can read within a given time. So independent reading time. Yeah, that's what this is, my friend. All right. Oh, hey, we got Troy. Hey, what's up? What's up? Welcome to the program. But yeah, that's what a reading sprint is. It is a book mukbang. Damn, I like that. Book mukbang. I gotta make a t-shirt now that says book mukbang. Oh my gosh, book mukbang. I'm on some bullshit today, guys. A book mukbang. Oh man. See, ideas be flowing, y'all. All right, let's continue here, guys. Sorry for yawning, y'all. Yeah, Mr. O does not like Mr. X. He has a burning hatred passion for this, for like disliking Mr. X. Cause Mr. X, he is like the leader of the Lessening Society, of this particular group, and Mr. O is like second in command. But like Mr. X is so arrogant, so he always treats Mr. O like really shitty. I really feel bad for him a little bit. But yeah, I really feel bad for him. He puts up with so much shit from Mr. X. It's like ridiculous. Ah. Whew. Oof. Oh my gosh, guys, this is just crazy. Now, okay, Troy has a good question. So, Troy is asking, you can't read it out loud. Now, here's the reason why, guys, I can't read it out loud and this is just why. This is a massive book, guys. This is 400 pages. And then the second reason is I don't know if YouTube or Twitch allows what is called a read aloud, where you read the book out loud. I don't think there's really a category on YouTube or Twitch for that, but who knows, maybe I might find out and see. So that's why I just read it to myself and then I react to it. Is just because I don't know if that's something that I can do. But if you guys know and clarify that, find that out for me, besides me finding out myself, hey, definitely let me know. I didn't think it would be something that would be possible. But yeah, this is a massive book, guys. This book is like 400 pages. So I'll find out. And Troy says that you've seen many read alouds on Twitch. That's cool. I mean, I'll have to find out if it's something that is allowed. Then yeah, that would be cool to do that, but I just didn't want to take chances. I just didn't want to take chances because like the rules on YouTube, the rules on Twitch, they're changing every damn day. So that's the reason why I just do it this way. I know it's kind of boring with me like sitting down reading, but I try to react as much as I can when it gets to like a good part or something. But yeah, that's what I do. This is a book mukbang program. I'm gonna use that from now on. This is a book mukbang. That's what I'm doing is 10 rounds, seeing how much endurance I have to read as much as I can. And then guys, eventually we'll get to the Outlander books, and those are 1,000 pages. Now imagine reading out loud 1,000, almost like over that many pages. So I mean, if it's allowed, I can find out and then I'll like get back to you guys. But the rules are always changing on Twitch, they're always changing on YouTube, so that's why I just didn't want to take the chance, and then I won't be able to do this anymore, and that would suck. All right, so let's continue here, guys. I got 9 more minutes left here, and then I'll follow up with y'all. Woo! Ooh. Aww. Oh no. Oh man. Okay, so man, guys, let me tell you, Bella is super cruel to Mr. O. So, you know, we've been talking about relationships and everything today, and there's a part where Mr. O is like, you know, going out to fulfill Mr. X orders to go, you know, catch some more vampires. And the way that Bella is being kept alive is that Mr. O told Mr. X that he's using her as a tool to attract the male vampires. But what Mr. X doesn't know is that Mr. O, the vampire slayer here, has a thing for Bella, and Bella is manipulating him. It's terrible. But like, he would bring her like a gift and be like, here you go, and she's just like, I don't like it, and he would start crying. So that's why I was laughing, because I was just like, wow, this guy is like going out of his way to be nice. And I mean, even though he has temper tantrums like here and there, but he's going out of his way to be nice to you, and then you're like being a bitch. And I'm just like, that is so fucked up. That is not nice. Not nice at all. All right, let's continue here, guys. Ooh, sorry for yawning, guys. It's been a long day. Oh. Oh man, this is getting crazy, guys. Oh my gosh, I mean, we're not even we're 14 pages in so far, and already we have, right from the get-go, an action scene with the Brotherhood fighting against the Lessers. We've learned that Mr. O and Mr. X, they have a very toxic relationship, and Mr. X treats Mr. O like he's garbage. Then we have Mr. O, who has this weird like obsession with Bella, and he doesn't call her Bella, he calls him, or calls her, his wife. So it seems like Mr. O lost his wife, and that's probably why he's calling her that, but she's still trapped. And now there's this like random person that saw that that thought that she was dead, but she's alive, and we don't know where this person has come from. Like, this is crazy. All right, so we're gonna wrap up, guys, chapter 1. We're gonna move on into chapter 2. We still have 8 rounds to go. If you have any like questions for me, if you want to learn more about like booktube or my book mukbangs, I like this, book mukbangs, definitely let me know. And I love answering questions on books and stuff like that. So I know this is not common for Twitch, for example, because on Twitch you're doing more of like gaming and that kind of stuff. But I thought it would be interesting to have like a book Twitch type show. And so far you guys are liking it and stuff. But if you have such like book recommendations, things like that, you know, definitely let me know. So we have, let's see how many more rounds we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 8 more rounds, guys. So what I'm going to do is take a quick break here, and I need to stretch and stuff because I've been, you know, doing this for 3 hours. And I think I'm gonna do one more round, and then tomorrow we'll finish up the next like the next couple of rounds, because it's kind of getting late and I need to like make sure I get sleep so that I don't look a hot damn mess tomorrow. All right, so I will be back, guys. All right, guys, had to take a, whew, that feels so good. Had to take a quick stretch break there, because I was like, been sitting down for like 3 hours. Like, oh my gosh. I try to stretch like every hour. And Troy's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Well, if you need clarification, my friend, just just let me know and I can clarify, because this is like the third book in the series. So I can do some backtracking if you need for me to do that. So all right, so yeah, we're getting to the good shit here. So we're gonna finish up our first chapter, and then I'm going to start chapter 2. But see, my goal is to really try to read 1 to 2 chapters a day, just because, like, if not, you kind of fall behind. And this is one of the bigger books in the series. In the beginning, it gets bigger, guys. Like, some of these books are like this. But I'll find out if I can do what they call a read. It's like read out loud. So I'll find out if I can do that on Twitch or YouTube. And if I can, that would be cool. Especially, I don't have all the audio books for this book series. So some of them, that would be cool for me to read. But some of them are massive. They're like 500-600 pages. So I'm just like, my throat will be definitely raw. But guys, you don't want to miss though, coming up next week, because I do the show twice a week on Wednesdays and Thursdays. But to like this weekend, because of the historical romance weekend readathon, that's why I'm doing a little bit more of these like live episodes, for that very reason. So what I'm gonna be doing is playing this, it's a Tomy game. It's really popular. It's called Ikemen Vampire, and like the whole premise of it is you're the female protagonist, and then you kind of pick the guy that you like and you go through the love story and everything. But what's cool about this game is that each one of the love interests are actually based on men who are from different periods of history. So you have like Leonardo da Vinci, you have Van Gogh, Picasso. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I can't wait to, and they're all vampires, so that's like a bonus for me because I love vampires. So that's what we'll be doing coming up next week. But this was just out of a whim, guys. Usually I don't do a readathon like this impromptu, but because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really liking historical romance, and it's like with some of my favorite booktubers, I have to participate in this. So today I just got all of my audiobooks, and I'm gonna be cleaning and listening to them, and then also coinciding getting through this book as well, before I do my wrap up on it. But what I think about it so far, it's really good. Like, really good descriptions of all the characters. They're all fleshed out now, and their relationships are starting to bond and come together. But yeah, I like Zetas. Zetas, he can be very sporadic. He has a very gothic heart sometimes, but he's looking for Bella, and he seems to be a nice guy. It's just that he's been through so much. We also learned too a little bit more about Bella. Bella grew up in this kind of farm-like environment, and then the way that she met Mary, because Mary is the love interest in the second book. That's how they met, was because they moved here, her parents moved here, and then that's how they were able to interact. So that's what we've learned so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll continue here, and we're almost done actually with the first part of the audiobook as well. So we're making good progress, guys. I try to make as much progress as I can with this. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we got 7 more rounds here to go, but I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to try here because I want to, get a good start on this. before I get into my audiobooks that I have to read for the readathon this weekend. But I've read 2 so far, so I got like 3 more to go, but they're all like 9-10 hours, so I gotta really put the pedal to the metal, as they would say. So all right, let's do this, guys. So we're gonna finish up chapter 1, and we got like 7 more rounds here of reading to go, but I'll try to see how much I can do. All right, let's get started here. Aww, poor Bella. All right, chapter 2. Yeah, making progress. Oh, and also, guys, to forgot to put the timer. Okay, let me do that. Okay, also, guys, to let you know, the audiobook is narrated by Jim Frangoni. He does a really good job. He has a very sassy, like sexy, like deep voice. But guys, I cannot wait. I have another audiobook that I'm going to be listening to. The narrator's voice, I was just so hot and bothered. Oh my gosh. Like, I had to like pause it just to be like this, just to be like, oh yes. Like, oh my gosh. I was feeling my fantasy, guys. It was everything. It was everything. All right, so let's continue here. We got chapter 2. But guys, I highly suggest you guys get a book stand, especially if you're let's say you have the physical copy and you're listening to the audiobook while you're reading it. It just makes it easier, because sometimes, you know, when I'm reading, you know, I'm looking down like that and it just makes my neck hurt after some time. I got this book stand from Amazon. It's actually like one of those like cookbook stands, and it has like 2 metal pieces to keep the pages open. But it works well with books too. Like the metal is pretty, you know, pliable, and, you know, it holds it into place. The only downside I don't like is that the actual grip pieces to hold the book open, they're made with like this plastic, so sometimes it leaves it leaves like indentations on the paper. So if you're like a book collector, you may want to check into that before getting a book stand. But so far, yeah, it's working really well. All right, let's continue here, guys. Oh, let me make sure I set my timer here. All right, so I'm gonna do this. Okay, this will be my last reading sprint because I know I can feel myself getting tired. So I'm like, it's bedtime. Okay. All right. So let's go here for another 20 minutes starting now. Woo! What? All right, we got 15 more minutes here. And we're learning a lot, guys, about like why the Brotherhood is very secretive amongst humans. And there's a reason why they hang out at this club that's called Zero Sum. It's owned by a vampire, but the main reason why they hang out there is that it's more discreet in their like VIP section. So like people kind of hang out in their cliques and they don't bother each other. So that's interesting. Ooh. Yo, Z is savage, guys. Like, he is super savage. Oh, wow, this is a short chapter. We are already on chapter 3. See, that's what happens sometimes in these books, is that, like, chapter 1 was 14 pages, and then there's, like, these kind of quick spurt kind of chapters. But yeah, Z kind of reminds me a little bit of Christian Grey in there. But he is... yeah, he knows what he wants, and you just kind of have to do what he says. So that's the only thing I don't like about his personality. But if you peel all those layers back, like, Zadis is actually a decent person. I just think he's, like, misunderstood because of what he, like, went through and all that. So all right, let's finish up chapter 2 here. All right, guys, we got 8 more minutes left here. Okay, so we go from the perspective of Zetas, and now we're getting into another new character here, which is John Matthew, and we get right into a sex scene. Just like he's like, you know, doing it with this like with this woman or whatever, and they're like doing it, and she like turns to him and is like, hey, can you handle this? And it's like, obviously he can, because you're like sleeping with him. Like, okay. This is such a mess. This is such a mess. Mm. Oh. Woo, sorry guys. Oh, Okay. Okay, so to clarify, guys, John in the previous book, he was a orphan that was helped, and then what ended up happening was they brought him in to like help him with getting better at like his vampire like skills and stuff like that. So that's so he's having like this bad like dream. It's crazy. All right, let's continue here, guys. All right, we got a minute left here. I mean, I would keep going, guys, but I can like feel myself getting tired, so I was like, you know what, I think I need to end it before I start falling asleep. Which I think I am. I'm just like all right. All right, so we'll stop there, guys. So this is what I've learned. So, okay, we have John who, I believe John was the one that they like adopted. And then we also have Wellesley, and he was like trying to like tell her, you know, what happened. And then all they're doing is kind of giving a description of the place. I think John, I might be wrong. There's so many characters, guys, to keep up with. But we also learn more about Z and like why he has this like ruthless aggression. It's based on how he was treated, because he was actually a slave. But they haven't gone into full detail of what happened. So I think, you know, we're in the early part of the book. So I think that's what's going to be explained. But good news, guys, I was able within this time, because I was talking to, which is fine, we have good time here, we have good banter here, right? I made it to page 24, so let me give myself a pat on the back. And yeah, this was a great episode. I really enjoyed this. But guess what, guys? You're gonna get to see my ugly face again tomorrow, because we are going to be covering day 2 of the historical romance weekend readathon. So that's going to be done by Peace Love Books, Remarkable Lisa, and I always forget her name, and Lacey. Lacey Loves Books. So we're gonna continue doing that, guys. Let me know what you think about Lover Awakened. Do you think it's a good book, or do you think it's it's just a typical vampire romance? No, I'm just being messy, guys. But yeah, we're gonna continue day 2. I'll see when they do their live episode with Lacey and Lisa, and of course Peace Love Books, because I want to react to it while it's going on and kind of giving my opinions on what they're saying and stuff, for my reacting to booktuber segment, because I've always wanted to do that with commentary. There we go, guys. But I'm gonna call it a end of today's episode, guys. You can keep in touch with me the following ways. I am on both Twitter and Instagram, which is at Bookshade. So Bookshade, as you see below, and add the number 1 to it. And that's my Instagram and my Twitter. I'm gonna be updating hopefully my Instagram more with like shorter reviews that I don't do on here, which is more of my longer like live stream kind of stuff. And then also it's Bookstagram, so I'm gonna be taking pictures of the books that I'm like currently reading, or books that I'm done reading. And also, guys, I got like 4 new backgrounds so that I can take pictures of my books and stuff. I'm trying to be more creative with my Bookstagram, but I really suck, you know. I think I just need to get like a better like camera stand. So like I like what Peace Love Books does on her Instagram. Like she's sitting in her bed and she like takes picture. I gotta learn how she does that. Who knows? Maybe I might ask her tomorrow. So yeah, so I'll be back, guys, again later on today, but I'm gonna get out of here, guys. But like I always say, remember that reading is Halloween. Thanks so much for watching.